Hey gamers, Damien here. I wish I could have new videos for you guys right now, but unfortunately, I don't. I've been pretty busy preparing for college. I've hit what the kids call unk status. And I've been pretty busy preparing for things, and I know I'm gonna be even busier adjusting to things. So unfortunately, I haven't had any new content to release. But as soon as I get things sorted out, I promise I'll go back to making videos. I have tons of cool ideas I think you guys enjoy. But until then, I'm gonna sell out some more. Do you guys want another Dave Pilkey compilation? This remaster will be a compilation of all my Dog Man videos, including my ranking of every Dog Man book, my review of Big Jim Begins, my review of the Dog Man game, my initial review of the Dog Man movie, and my video essay about the Dog Man movie. All the videos are linked in the description. And to keep you updated, yes, I will be making a video reviewing Big Jim Believes, and I have decided that I will be making a review of that Captain Underpants manga coming out later next year. And I still plan on making that final compilation that includes every single Dave Pilkey video I've ever made. But until then, I appreciate your guys' patience and enjoy the video.
Huh?
Oh, hey gamers, Damon here. Didn't see you there. I've heard the requests. So, after long demand, I'm finally going to talk about To Kill a Mockingbird. What a classic piece of literature. One that's taught in classes to this day. But does it hold up? Absolutely not. It's long, boring, and worst of all, there's no pictures! 0 out of 10. Fine. I'll talk about Dog Man! With the latest release, there's no better time to talk about and rank every single Dog Man book. I had to eventually. I couldn't procrastinate forever. I'm a big Dog Man fan. Could you guys tell? And now I'm gonna fully explain to you every single thought I have about this series. Keep in mind that this is just my opinion, but mine's also objectively correct, so just like Captain Underpants, the Dog Man series means a lot to me, especially from an artistic standpoint. These books taught me how to draw dogs. This shit means something to me! But as I grew older, reading every book as they released, I kinda grew to have a couple problems with the series. What are they? Well, let me just get my list here. Though I can focus on Dog Man, the annoying Mary Sue that is Little Petey, the new and not interesting characters and villains, the more crude and childish humor, the forgettable and repetitive stories, a consistent attempt at a conclusion that ruined the impact of any, and the quality of life choices like forgetting the existence of George and Harold. I think that's all. But hey, there's a lot to love about Dog Man, especially the nice character arcs. I can appreciate that, you know. But why do I feel this way? Well, let's find out. Starting with the first Dog Man book has a very special place in my heart. I got this copy from a friend and I have loved it ever since. This book is very different than the other books in the series. Like, look at these teaser posters. Like, that's Breaking Bad! And this entry is a lot more reminiscent of books like Super Diaper Baby and The Adventures of Ook and Gloop. The drawings are a lot more crude, and there's even Captain Underpants fanfare! I love Captain Underpants! But its uniqueness is kind of the best and worst part of this book. Like, there's only 4 chapters, and they kind of feel very standalone. Although, they do have an overarching plot of the police chief learning to love Dog Man, and that's pretty cool. Wait a minute. Is Dog Man propaganda? What the crap? The first chapter tells us the amazing story of Dog Man, about a police guy and his dog getting in an explosion. And we also get introduced to the best character ever, Petey. He's such an evil little gremlin. And he makes a giant vacuum that chases Dog Man across the city. Yeah, this book is pretty funny. Then chapter 2 comes in with a evil mayor. She fires the police chief and she replaces him with a giant robot. But she's acting a little too sus and evil. In this chapter, we're introduced to a bunch of magical sprays that we'll learn a lot about throughout the series. Petey turns invisible and it's pretty funny. And then chapter 3 comes in and it's kinda weird. It's an older comic by George and Harold, and I love it! We get a better look at Cat Jail and Big Jim, but a true Sigma. And Petey turns everybody on the earth dumb. And it's funny seeing him get annoyed by everybody because they're just so stupid. And even his butler leaves him for marrying a trash bag. No! But then after Dog Man watches Brain Rot Skibbity Toilet compilations, he beats Petey up. Then there's the big epic finale with a bunch of walking, talking hot dogs and Philly the cheesesteak. It's all very epic and I love it. This book is just simply so nostalgic for me, and I don't know what it is, but this book holds up really well today. My biggest takeaway from this book is that Dog Man has dick and balls. If I had to describe this book in one word, it would be epic. But if I'm gonna be honest, I don't really care for this one that much. It does work as a great sequel though. It introduces Sarah and Zuzu, it reestablishes the sprays, and it even explores more of Dog Man's behavior, and introduces us to Flippy the Fish, who's given the chief on his epic birthday. Yeah, this book kind of has a little too much going on. Like, everything that happens takes place in a day. And Petey's also in here. And you wanna know what he does in this book? He has a giant treasure chest and he makes people go hubba hubba, and then he gets them back to jail. Yeah, he kind of doesn't really do a lot. But that's because we get Flat Petey. And I mean, that's pretty cool. He hypnotizes this witch doctor.
The Hypno Ring.
He just kind of steals the focus away from Flippy and the giant climax. He turns a giant T-Rex to life though. It's Mr. Bones! It's Mr. Bones! Flippy shows up and then he loses his soul. And then Flat Petey turns to ice and then he gets defeated. The whole final act is kind of just whatever, I guess. And look, this book is very epic and all, but it's just kind of forgettable. But I don't see myself hating anything anytime soon. Oh no! It's Little Petey! I hate you! I hate you! Ah! You are the worst! I'm just kidding. He's the biggest addition for the entire series and might have led to my biggest gripes with it. He can be an annoying, naive Mary Sue. He's a child and all, preaching the very child-friendly themes of teamwork and redemption. Like, get your sensitive ass out of here!
I'll just go with 11.
This is a history book.
But he thought that was going to be cooler.
But in this book, he's kind of tolerable. I like him. His dynamic with Petey is great, and him getting him back from Dog Man. And this leads to a lot of genuinely great emotional moments. And thus, we begin Petey's series-wide redemption arc. Like, you can tell that he still cares about Little Petey even when he tells him to GET OUT! I love how the only reason why he made him was because he just needed a new butler. He even creates a new character, the robot known as ADHD! Wait a minute, ADHD? ADHD? Bravo, Vince! But this book is consistently great throughout. I love Petey's escape from jail. He made Big Jim grab Little shit. I love all the antics of people that try to buy Little Petey. I also love Dog Man's antics. He plays around with the corpse of dead Flippy. But this accidentally leads to him becoming a robot, and then he comes back to life. Then he makes a bunch of other giant buildings to come to life, and then they kind of destroy the city or something. And this all leads to an epic climax, and Petey's about to die as Dog Man saves him. And then Little Petey goes up to Flippy, and he's all like, "Hey, you can be a good guy." Okay, this is only Flippy's second appearance and he's already redeemed to be a good guy. The Captain Underpants series led me to believe that this fish was pure evil. But the real issue that this leads is with Little Petey, because he proceeds to do this to almost like every single character and villain since. Yeah, kinda cringe. Still, this book is a classic. Oh wait, this book introduces the reading with your Dog Man trend. Okay, Piper, I have to read with my cat. Oh! Alright guys, this right here is the best book in the series. There's a Dog Man movie that's being made by Prince Herb himself. But Dog Man being, well, a dog, it doesn't really go very well. It just leads to a bunch of silly antics. Yeah, this book is filled to the brim with the best jokes ever. Like him cutting the cheese, what the Sigma. We meet new characters like Lorelei Caprice, an Italian actress. I feel so represented. And I like all the silly actors like the Samuel L. Jackson parody. But also Petey is great too. He dresses up as a nanny. And he gaslights little Petey to become evil just like him. This book is just so epic, dude. Like Petey's little costume. And it's all great. There's a whole bunch of references to the other books. Petey takes control of a robot of Philly the Gyro. We get to see Mr. Bones again. There's also a little arc with ADHD and his sentience. And it only gets cooler from here. They go back to the studio to go save the day.
What? This guy, he tripped and fell in the back of McDonald's? Subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on Instagram.
And this causes the birth of the Bark Knight. Petey kidnaps Yole and he steals the Dogmobile. And he saves the day. The rest of the book is nothing but the best action ever written. Petey makes all the robots evil, and everyone becomes superheroes and fights all the hot dogs. Petey gets a can of Canary Go and takes control of Squidward's house and starts attacking the city.
About that prick's face when he saw the gat.
You call whatever you want, I don't care. Ski-W-D.
What the prick's face when he saw the guy?
I came by for that Giat you told me about.
Nah, I wasn't really on God about that.
It then takes ADHD to get kicked around the entire planet to then destroy Philly the Gyro. This book is just peak Dog Man. I honestly have no complaints at all. Okay, what the hell? Because this book is also peak. In this book, we meet the Fleas, one of the best group of villains in the series. We got the two stupid henchmen, Crunchy and Bub. And then the goat, Piggy. He's like Melvin Sneely, other than I don't want to blow his brains out. And they're from Petey's past, and they're back for revenge. The whole backstory is very entertaining. It's childhood trauma inspired by Lord of the Fleas. I like how Petey calls for animal rights.
Trans people are people.
Put your record on, tell me your favorite song. You go ahead, let your head down.
I love Petey's dynamic in this one. He gets little Petey from Dog Man, and then he keeps interrupting his story. And then after a bunch of bantering, they get into a giant robot to attack the Fleas. Because the Fleas have a giant dinosaur machine. And an epic climax happens and the super buddies have to come in to go save the day. Much of this book is just action, and I kinda like it for that. And then Petey is stuck holding the Fleas all night.
Huh?
And then little Petey makes Chunky Bub revolt against Piggy because he's just such an asshole. And then he revolts by turning Dog Man big. And then they make the robot look like a giant squirrel, and the Dog Man eats it because he likes squirrels. And that makes his arc come full circle because at the beginning of the book there was a squirrel.
That's awesome.
And then the Fleas get shrunk and stuff, and then the book ends with big Petey development. This book just seemed like I was just explaining what happens in it. It's because I was. Yeah, man, this book is just peak, dude. But we've gone to the point where the art in this series just is too good. There's no way that 5th grade Jordan and Harold are making this.
Baba Boo.
This is what I made in 5th grade. Ew! In this book, Dog Man gets framed by the Fleas from last book who got shrunken down, and because their disguise is just so top tier, Dog Man, a guy that has shown his utmost dedication and loyalty to this city, gets sent to dog jail. And it's really cool and stuff, even if you ignore the abusive warden Yeah, that's kind of messed up.
You're gonna mow the entire football field
That doesn't sound so bad.
with your teeth.
What does it matter? Because Dog Man is starved it because he eats and barfs clay. Ugh. But that only comes in at around like chapter 4. The first few do with the Dog Man movie being finally finished. It's all stop motion and stuff, which is a neat callback to book 4, aka Peak. Petey also is trying to be good in jail, but he just can't do it. He just wants to see little Petey, and that's pretty emotional. Like, Petey, I don't really see the hype, really. You're risking your grand evil scheme with this giant bee just to see this little twat
I gotta make some dough.
who just watched his skibbity toilet. I'm not kidding. He loves his diarrhea.
What's so funny? I don't get it.
Yeah, it's been kind of a running joke for a while, and it's just gotten really annoying. Along with his good guy speeches. Do you guys see why I don't like him that much? Anyways, after some fun investigations by Sarah and Joel, Chief and ADHD save Dog Man from the clutches of prison.
Get out
And
of
they
here,
also
Chop.
save all
Back
the other
home.
dogs.
Oh, nigga don't hate me because I'm beautiful.
And they all go to the epic Dog Man movie premiere where the women catches the fleas, but then they use living spray to turn stop motion Philly the Gyro into real life.
Picture my booty up in 3D. Shake my booty in my own movie.
And this is really cool. I love the mixed media that they use in this book. And then PD Ex Machina comes in, and then Dog Man eats a bunch of clay, and then he burns out the fire. See, I told you guys that would come back later. This book is once again pink, but it should have been called Breath of the Wild. Big missed opportunity, 0 out of 10. And with that, Pink Dog Man ends. To whom the ball rolls, everyone. Yeah, this was my live reaction to this book. Like, there's balls.
Fortnite balls.
2 dogs in the house, 2 balls in my mouth.
Excuse me, what's the actual?
And a robot rat. This book is also the return of Dr. Scum! The guy from the first book that I didn't even bother to mention because he was just so uncool. But now that he's back, oh, he's so cool now! Nah!
Totally outdone yourself.
Thank you. Couldn't have done it without you.
It's not a compliment.
But what is cool is the fleas being on Petey's little whisker. And then Petey starts a giant cat revolution, but then he drops it because he gets pardoned by the governor. And then the fleas go on to Big Jim. But then they exile Piggy because he's a little
Fucking dick.
and he goes on a bunch of side quests with this giant moth thing. It goes absolutely nowhere, though. They just completely forget about it. And Chunky and Bub gaslights Big Jim to become a new superhero, Commander Cupcake. Huh? A fat cupcake lover that should be in prison. Kinda sounds familiar, but I can't put my finger on it.
Imagine being the biggest living creature on Earth. You know what I mean? Can y'all imagine that? You don't have to imagine it, sadly. Yeah, you're banned. Have a good night.
Anyways, Petey fights over custody over little Petey.
Gay.
And this book has a big focus on Petey. Like, Dog Man doesn't do a lot in this book. He just has an obsession with balls and controlling his urges. But that's because they get to focus on the introduction of Petey's dad, Grandpa. And he's kind of a dick.
Fucking dick.
He apparently abandoned Petey and he trashes their house, and during the climax, he just steals all their stuff. That son of a bitch! Anyways, the climax happens and they crush Dr. Scum's balls. And then Dr. Scum's gonna win, but then Petey saves the day. Petey steals a ring, but then Commander Cupcake catches him.
Forged from the molten plastic of Shindog, China.
Despite all the stuff crammed in this book, there's still really good emotional moments. Like, the stuff in here are like genuinely the best in the series.
Charlie,
How the world just
me,
isn't perfect,
Charlie.
but
You
that's
want my
okay.
everything. World's up, man.
But I think I kind of miss when the books were more standalone, because this book is kind of forgettable. Oh wait, this book starts over Melvin!
Oh, I swear to God, if I had my Gribbly gun on me right now!
This book is definitely a Dog Man book. The best part about this book is the Fair Fairy, who gives me mad Professor Poopy Pants for. She's so unhinged, and I love it.
If I had to change one thing about the world, it would be to get rid of Nick.
She gets canceled for going full Trevor Phillips.
That was really bad.
Yeah, I saw her on the end of this penis here.
And she goes by a pawn and recruits a bunch of tadpoles with telekinesis powers and super brain dots. And they join her to take over the city with Barky McTreeface. And these tadpoles become very important characters, as they all get redeemed by Little Petey, and then they get taken care of by the return of Flippy the Fish. How do I feel about these characters?
I'm Mr. Frog. This is my show. I ate the bug. I ate the bug. This is the end. I love you.
But I bet I would care about them more if I read Cat Kid Comic Club. I don't. Petey and Little Petey do a little bit of some Breaking Bad chemistry, and they go visit Grandpa, but then he makes them pass out, and then he swaps places with Petey.
I'm Kanye West now.
And while Petey's in jail with Big Jim / Commander Cupcake, Little Petey instantly knows he's with Grandpa. I do like how these two plotlines meet up during the climax. Grandpa helping Tooth Fairy starring Dog, and Great Value Captain Underpants capturing them.
What kind of animal do you take me for? No, I didn't kill him, but I did kidnap his wife.
Haven't forgotten anybody? Oh yeah, how can I forget? The most important character, King Magnum!
You and I are gonna have a lot of fun.
Oh, you like it? Oh, hell no.
Well, this is not how I expected to be spending my Saturday.
King Magnum! Oh, I guess Dog Man too. He barely does anything! He helps collect super brain dots because drugs are bad. And then they turn the tadpoles evil, so it's up to the gang to go capture all the tadpoles. But then he gets nerfed and then forgotten about. The day is saved by Zuzu and Little Petey, who redeems a tadpole called Molly. So yeah, while I do still find this book enjoyable overall, there's just stuff I really don't like. And also, bigger grievances starting to form. Like the more focus on newer characters and the Petey's. And the dynamics and running gags are even starting to become repetitive. But hey, who cares? They said gooning!
The Goon Squad!
Now, are you an edger or are you a gooner?
The problems only grow from here. Because now the character dynamics are starting to feel very repetitive. It always has, but now it's really starting to show. This whole shtick has been done over and over. And the Dog Man slander? Well, it's not as bad. The mayor fires him as a cop for causing mass destruction. And then he gets disguised as Catman. And the chief is a real one for standing up for him. And they cause a cop civil war. Like these two cops are such ops.
I can't stand Spider-Man. I can't stand him. I hate him.
But then it's all kind of forgotten about in the climax until the very end. Although I do like Mr. Schnuckums, so I guess it's all okay.
Mr. Grizzly. Mr. Grizzly.
But that's because we need to focus on Grandpa and Petey's arc. Grandpa's the main villain this time, and he gets this helmet that turns into the Hulk machine! And he destroys the city and stuff, but he just kind of acts like normal Petey but dumb, especially when he's with Big Jim.
What that prick's face when he saw the gat?
And he turns this giant paper bag into real life. Does have some mixed media stuff though, so that's pretty cool. But then the freaking tadpoles come back to save the day. God, I hate childish themes in my books. Where's the naked man? And then the book leads up to Petey eventually forgiving Grandpa. I have mixed feelings about it. I mean, it's done really well in this book. The emotional moments are great throughout. I don't know. All this is just all starting to blend together. Petey doesn't need to learn to be a good guy for the millionth time. Or the millionth star ending shot. This happened so many times, dude, I swear. it's all starting to become repetitive. And also, hot take, I don't think Grandpa deserves to be redeemed. He abandoned Petey and allegedly abused him! Sorry. Got a little political. Oh, by the way, we meet Melvin the Frog. Oh my god! I can't escape him!
It feels so good! Shut the fuck up!
This is my least favorite Dog Man book.
What is this shit?
Hey! Hear me out! Hear me out!
You're done. You are done.
The reason why this book is my least favorite, because it's like the culmination of every single problem I've had up to this point. Guess what, guys? Dog Man has nothing to do!
Guess I'm Oogaloo!
He gets injured and then he has a giant cone on him for the rest of the book. Okay. Well, PD and ADHD make him a giant robot mech suit, and that's pretty cool. He even shows this off to the ops! But, one, it gets absolutely wasted in the climax as he gets one-tapped, and instead, we gotta get Mecha Molly to save the day. But two, because Dog Man spends the rest of the book helping Chief ask out the nurse lady. That's all he does for like the entire book. But hey, I like the Chief subplot. It's pretty funny.
Secret room!
And the pairing of Big Jim and Grandpa has officially overstayed its welcome. But what's worse is that after they get eaten by a bunch of lame-ass sippy cups, they just disappear until one panel. Huh? This pretty sucks, because for a while, I genuinely thought that this was the last book in the series. And it felt like it too. There was an entry for 2 years, and ever since Bench 22, George and Harold have been in the 6th grade. And that's the last grade of Jerome Horwitz Elementary School. So I expected to get an update about them. You wanna know what they did? I don't know. They just, removed them entirely. And they haven't appeared since. But what caused all this? Why is this book bad? Well, that's because all the focus is on Petey!
This whole thing, all of this, it's all about me.
It takes up a giant chunk of this book, and he gets interviewed to tell his entire backstory. I hope you guys like diarrhea!
Funny.
Nobody's laughing!
We Ohio got rigged.
Like, okay, Petey is the best character in the series, even when his arc felt dragged on. But it takes up such a big chunk of this book that at least everything else just feels so underdeveloped. But hey, the backstory itself, it's pretty amazing. They even call back the Super Diaper Baby too! And we even learn about Petey's childhood. And we meet his mom, who took care of him when Grandpa left. And then she dies. There's no way that George and Harold wrote this.
Baba Boo.
They were at the TikTok Riz party. Like, I know that was just a joke and all, but this is a serious problem with this series. Like, these no longer feel like a bunch of comics by George and Harold. I feel like he's kind of lost his identity. It's not a bad thing, but it's just kind of lost its charm. And this book doesn't help me from thinking that George and Harold died in a tragic car crash. Well, good news! This isn't bottom tier Dog Man anymore! The fleas are back! Yay! Oh, but these stupid ass moths are back too. Oh! There's also these insects, and they're so lame and generic it's not even funny.
For the last time, I don't look nothing like no damn tow truck.
But they have a big focus, and I love the fleas! But other parts in this book are also pretty good as well. Dog Man has a presence in this one! In the beginning, he helps Chief goes on a few dates with the lunch lady. And it's just like me for real! But then it's kind of dropped because we gotta focus on the fleas! Like, okay, I love Piggy and all, but bro, you are not him. You are not the best villain ever made, aka Ian Hawke.
I never lose. Hey, back off, man. This is Dave Seville.
Fuck a pigeonhole, I'm a night owl, it's a different mode.
But the PD stuff is way better balanced this time. Mainly focusing on PD adjusting to society after being known as a hero. Yeah, we've reached the point where now it's starting to reference real world events. Hell no! This one being about cancel culture and the pandemic and fake news. It's kind of shoehorned into this one. I can still focus on the gang coming together to fight the giant submarine. And yes, even Dog Man saves the day. Actually, the fleas save the day.
Oh yeah? Well, Baba Booey!
Overall, a step in the right direction for the series. Also, look at this.
What the dog doing?
These? Deets nuts. Deets nuts. Deets nuts aren't nut nuts. Meat nuts. Those are meat nuts. Meat nuts. They're deets nuts.
And finally, we reached the final book in the series, Dog Man, the Scarlet Shredder. And this might as well be the very last Dog Man book. Well, I mean, Captain Underpants ended at 12 books. Maybe this one end too. Yeah, probably not. I have more faith in Kanye dropping Vultures 2 than I do of this being the final Dog Man book. And this has kind of become a problem because now it feels like every single Dog Man book is trying to be a big conclusion. So eventually when it does end, it's not going to feel very special. But this book is still pretty solid, I'm not gonna lie. And there's still a few loose ends left to clear up, so it can go on for a little longer. But we don't get to see George and Harold again. Where are they? Oh wait, but we get to see the Everything But Fabric stuff in the store. Never mind, I'll let it slide. Chief gets married, oh my god, that's so cool! He's gone for most of this book, but it's so cool! The entire beginning of this book is comedy gold. Like, ugh, they kiss! But then Chief is replaced with the Ops!
Buns, ketchup, pickle, cheese, put that patty in between his burger. What? It's burger. What? Buns, ketchup, pickle, cheese, put that patty in between his burger. What? It's burger.
And Dogman has a big focus again. He destroys the wedding, and then after he gets sprayed with a skunk, he gets sprayed tomato sauce on him, and he's stuck as a villain forever. Like Venom! I got that. And everyone's calling him a criminal. Which puts Petey in a very interesting spot because he's a good guy now. But he helps Dogman get out of prison with help from Dr. Scum!
Dude, what the f***? Why are you f***ing here, man? You're so old. Where's your wife? Go home to your family, dude.
He makes an army of AI robots. Yeah, this book talks about the rise of AI. And you know what? It's not subtle at all. But I respect Dad Pilkey to finally talk about this. I think it's very fitting. But then he goes and talks about the whole people are on their phones too much. And I'm all like, oh yeah, Dad Pilkey's 60 years old. He's kind of a boomer. But then there's a huge army and a giant Dogman AI robot monster. An absolute epic climax happens and it's genuinely really good. And Petey is forced to work with him, which he might turn evil. Okay. Did anybody seriously believe that Petey was going to turn back to being evil? It's rushed, underdeveloped, repetitive as
Baba Booey,
and almost character regression. There's also flashbacks to Petey's mom again. Oh no! But it's not as bad as the ones in Wuthering Heights, as they're pretty quick, and we get to see baby Jimmy.
What was the point of this again?
You know what? This book does stand as a very standalone book, but it's not even that bad of a conclusion either. I just care very much about this series, and I hope it gets the best ending possible. But I honestly hope Dogman just ends soon, as we're getting to a point where I'm scared that it's gonna fall on his face and ruin everything. Wait. Is that me?
Hold up.
Oh shit, that's me? That doesn't matter, because I'm done!
Dogman, the musical!
Alright, here's the final Dogman ranking. Number 12, Wuthering Heights. Number 11, Fetch 22. Number 10, Crime and Punishment. Number 9, Dogman Unleashed. Number 8, To Whom the Ball Rolls. Number 7, The Scarlet Shredder. Number 6, 20,000 Fleas Under the Sea. Number 5, Dog Man 1. Number 4, Tale of Two Kitties. Number 3, Lord of the Fleas. Number 2, Brawl the Wild. And number 1, Dog Man and Cat Kid. I did it. I finally did it!
You did it, sir.
He did it.
I did it.
He did it.
Well, that is every Dog Man book ranked. I know I made somebody mad. Tell me why I'm wrong in the comments below. I would love to see your guys' opinions. And despite all my problems, I still love Dog Man. In case you guys forgot, you can still criticize something while still liking it. I wouldn't spend this much time on this if I didn't care about it. Being a reader since day one, yeah, of course I have a lot to say. So, I hope this video was worth the wait. Be grateful! But now what? That was pretty much the last main Captain Underpants topic I had to talk about. Well, other than the Dog Man movie, that movie is gonna be a gold mine. But what's next? Well, I mean, I guess I could talk about the other spin-offs, but honestly, there isn't too much to talk about. Oh, but I could read Catman Comic Club! No. They're honestly a lot more like the extra chunky books of fun. But who knows? Maybe I'll review all of these in one little video or something. But who knows when that's gonna be. I'm still gonna make videos about almost anything I want. I didn't think anybody would care to hear me talk about Captain Underpants when I first started. But yet, here we are now. And I couldn't be more grateful. So, I'll ask you guys one thing. Why does this guy look like me? Oh, hey gamers, Damien here. Don't worry about me. I'm just sulking in my ever-growing Captain Underpants and Dog Man collection. I make the best money choices. It's officially Dog Man season! Less than 2 months away from the Dog Man movie. Oh boy, we have a ton of new content coming out soon. And to prepare, I made this tier list keeping track of my ranking of every Dog Man and Captain Underpants media. And you know, to milk the cash cow, I'm gonna talk about every single thing that comes out. Starting with... They deadass waited only 2 weeks after I released my Dog Man ranking video to announce this book. I guess that video is ruined now, but Big Jim Begins is the newest book in the Dog Man series. And the moment this book got announced, my first thought was, oh god, this is just like Cars 2! Like a whole book focusing on the funny side character? I don't know, man. I had my hopes though. I was thinking maybe that it would be a nice change of pace for the series. So after reading Big Jim Begins, what did I think of it? I thought it was okay. We begin with Big Jim and Grandpa in prison. And we immediately get a flashback to Big Jim's past when he was a baby. Where we learn that his parents got a message from aliens. And Grandpa remembers because he was there too. And they talk about a prophecy given by this ring that someone needs. But Grandpa takes it because he's a lying son of a bitch.
What the dog doing?
So we come back to modern day where the aliens come down to take over the world. So it's up to Commander Cupcake and his sidekick Sprinkles to save the day. This was my live reaction to the plot of this book.
Now you trying to say sorry.
I got a Dotson on them motherfucker.
The plot's kind of insane, but I'm not gonna lie to you, I kinda liked it. Like, the aliens are like so weird, where in any other instance I would call it mid and that the series is washed, but I liked it. I like how Little Petey has a little party for all the heroes to go to, but then the aliens come down and they spike all the food and they fall asleep. They got drugged and literally died. Then the cuteness invasion starts, so it's up to Big Jim, Grandpa, and Dog Man to save the day. They have like a little brawl or whatever, and it was fine. Although I liked how bizarre the plot is, I do have quite a bit of problems with it. But despite the things I do like, it's still Dog Man. I still really enjoy the series, and I still really enjoyed this book. I like these characters. The writing and humor is still as good as always. I shockingly laughed quite a bit in this one. Like, Hakpua! Spit on that thing! I'd like to apologize for that joke I just made.
Sick reference though, bro. Oh, thanks, bud. Dude, your references are out of control. Everyone knows that.
And for what they're worth, I really enjoyed the flashbacks in this book. It was nice seeing Baby Greg the dog and Baby Chief. And a nice couple references, and I liked when Baby Big Jim got sent to jail, even if it was all a dream. Overall, I thought the plot was pretty bizarre, but I kinda had my fun with it. However, it has a lot of loose ends, and that's something I'm kinda mixed on. So a big part of this book is Grandpa, and I want to talk about that right now. Looking back on books 9 and 10, I've kind of grown to appreciate what they did, like in book 9 with Petey pretty much moving on from him. However, I didn't like it in book 10, and they reduced him just to Big Jim's funny sidekick. I'll never forget what you did to Petey's mom, and I was scared in this book he was going to be exactly that. And he is. He has a whole superhero costume and everything. But they don't fully redeem him either. Yet. We learn a little bit about his past, like how he was like some disco freak, which is a bold choice, but I like the fit. But imagine if he got a low taper fade.
You know what's crazy is that low taper fade, like, meme is, dude, it is still massive. Gaming is intense, but talkies are seriously intense.
But that's it. He doesn't get a lot of focus in this book. That kind of disappointed me, actually. Like, damn, I thought I had something to be mad about. He just has this silly banter with Big Jim, which was enjoyable for what it was, but again, I don't know what they're gonna eventually do with his character, so we'll have to see about that. But who we do get a big focus on is the title character himself, Big Jim. Like I said before, I thought it was just gonna be like Cars 2, where they make him really unsufferable and really annoying, but thankfully, this isn't as bad as Cars 2. I still really like Big Jim, despite how oversaturated he's gotten over the years. What can I say? You can be fat and still have aura. You're just a really chill guy that doesn't really care about anything. But then this book actually caught me off guard when I found out that his parents died in a car crash. Like, damn, I actually do kind of care about him now. Emotional manipulation worked on me! But one issue still stands. And if you know my channel, you know what it is. There's still no focus on Dog Man.
Hope it doesn't mean that British Dog Man I'm always dreaming about.
Like, have you noticed that I barely mentioned him throughout this book? In fact, all the main side characters get sidelined very, very hard in this book. Pete Davidson isn't even in this one!
Enough about this Dog Man. It's time to stop this super cow.
I just hope this isn't a reoccurring problem going forward. I just lost my dog, man! And I really missed the feeling of the old books. I don't know. Maybe that's just a me thing. Because this book confirms at the end that this is going to be a new series about Big Jim. And by the looks of it, it's taking over the mainline Dog Man series. Again, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But as of right now, I'm not a fan of that, because at least Cat Kid Comic Club was its own separate spin-off. But hey, I guess we have the movie. But hey, if this is what Dad Pilkey wants to write, all power to him. Dad Pilkey is literally my biggest inspiration, and I respect him a ton. And the fact that I still enjoyed this book does give me hope. But again, this is just my opinion. And I still love and enjoy reading this series. But how does it rank in my Dog Man ranking? I think I have to put it at as the new worst Dog Man book. Yes, it's worse than Wuthering Heights.
Perhaps I treated you too harshly.
At the end of the day, Big Jim Begins serves as the first part of a plotline that I'm not really that big of a fan of. The storyline, it's just too massive. And you know what else is still massive? But it doesn't matter because Cat Kid Comic Club is worse than both. But hey, that's just my opinion. I'm only the second most popular Dog Man YouTuber behind Dorian's World. Huh, I wonder what he thought of the book.
Dave Pilkey himself dedicated Dog Man Big Jim Begins to me.
What? He got a shout out? That's so cool! Where's mine? I gotta be next, right? Hey gamers, Damon here. After reading Big Jim Begins 40 billion more times, I decided to put Big Jim Begins in double S tier because it's nothing short of the best book ever made ever. In fact, everything is in double S tier. Okay, I think that's everything I wanted to talk about. Ah! What is it now? Invite to the premiere! Okay, that's it. I'm glad that there's no new Dog Man content coming out for a while. Oh, come on! I'm glad that there's no new Dog Man content coming out for a while. Oh, come on! Dog Man Mission Impossible is the brand new, officially released 2D platformer and developed by Mindscape Games. I'm literally Crazy Gamer Inc. It'd be stupid if I didn't make a video about this game. And after spending 8 hours of my life platinuming this game, what did I think of it? It was okay. Okay, seriously. I'm a little disappointed to say that I didn't love the Dog Man game, especially because the developers are amazing. Huge shout out to the people at Mindscape Games. They are incredibly talented and their activeness in the community is very appreciated. They even interacted with me and are possibly watching this video. They have a lot of passion for this series, so props to them on their work on this game, even if I didn't like it as much. It was just hard to get through at times, man. Like, this came out the same day as Marvel Rivals and Fortnite OG, and I really wanted to play those instead. So I did. Okay, fine, I'll talk about the Dog Man game. So yeah, I sucked up my pride and I 100% completed this game. You gotta stay gaming, bruh. So let's begin the review, shall we?
Bruh said he paused his game to be here.
The game's story features the fleas stealing the key to the city and unleashing a bunch of old villains throughout the series, and it's up to our heroes to save the day. We have the ability to switch between the three super buddies, Dogman, Little Petey, and ADHD, which is the fun main mechanic throughout the game, because switching between the three is necessary to beat each level due to their different abilities and stats, which is executed well in the level design. Dogman has neutral stats and can dig underground, grapple, and have a glider. Little Petey can jump the shortest, but he can climb walls, go into vents, and can do unique puzzles. And ADHD can jump the highest but moves pretty slow, and breaks on platforms, but he moves big objects. He's probably my favorite character, by the way. You can also use various gadgets, gizmos throughout the game by collecting parts throughout the levels. And from that point on, it's just a normal 2D platformer and beating up enemies and stuff. If that sounded easy and basic to you, then that's because it is. It's painfully easy and simple. You know, unless you're me, I guess.
You didn't have to cut me off. Think I like it never happened to know we were nothing.
But it's a Dog Man game. I expected it to be pretty easy. Who do you think the target audience is? And to be fair, they made the most out of it. And I would say that this game is a great adaptation of the books. Just by looking at the graphics and story, there are various references and characters throughout the books. Like even Pete Davidson's here throughout the game to turn you into Supa. It's pretty much just an extra heart, but still. The developer's love to this game shines throughout and gives the game way more personality than I think it would have otherwise. Like this game genuinely made me laugh at times. And throughout each level, there's a bunch of little collectibles that you can get, such as badges and tabbles that I will admit are pretty cool to collect. It gave me some motivation to explore throughout each level. There are also secret levels that you can unlock by replaying the game, which are slightly harder than the normal levels, but it's not really that big of a difference. It's not like Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, where I'm sweating my balls off. Also, just putting it out there, big missed opportunity not having this be multiplayer. So as a small budget 2D platformer, this is a pretty good Dog Man game. Okay, so let's talk about the elephant in the room. This game costs $40. The game's quality, especially visually, is very subpar. I know it's to make the game as close to the books as possible, but it just comes off looking really cheap and reminds me of Flash games from the early 2000s. In comparison, let's take a look at the Captain Underpants Collector's Edition DVD. Yeah, as an addition to my ever-glowing Captain Underpants collection. This book comes with a CD featuring tons of cool stuff, and it even has a whole album.
Underpants, underpants, I like Captain Underpants. Underpants, underpants, hooray, Captain Underpants.
Overall 10 out of 10, better than Graduation. But this CD has its own flash game, where you're Captain Underpants and you have to bring things across a bridge.
What the hell, twin? This ain't no goddamn Fortnite.
Yeah, this game hasn't aged well. This game blows! Or maybe I'm just bad, I don't know. So throughout my playthrough, I couldn't help but notice the lack of budget in this game, because it holds back its potential. The art is like a mixed bag of reused drawings and new art, and some of it just looks rough. And because of this, the animations just feel very choppy. It even caused a couple glitches during my playthrough, nothing like game breaking, but like still. And like I said before, the gameplay and level design is just too simple and easy to really offer anything outside of the Dog Man branding. Where, to be honest, I'd rather play any other 2D platformer. Like, why would you buy the Switch version for this game? Like, why wouldn't you just get Donkey Kong Country? I know that's an unfair comparison, but I tried to enjoy this game for what it was, and I just couldn't because there were other aspects of the game that kind of frustrated me. Because of how generic this game can be at times, it can feel a bit of a chore to complete, alongside some other issues that come alongside it. Like hearing the same 5 songs play on repeat over and over again got really annoying after a while. Like when a new song played, I would scream in bliss. Makes it worse that these songs are all stock music. Another thing I found odd is the live system, and the fact that there isn't really one. You have your 4 hearts, and once you lose all of them, you have to start the level all over again. It's odd because there are checkpoints in this game, but they only work if you fall off the stage and stuff. But this game is pretty easy, so it's not going to be that big of an issue. Okay, so I guess I'm just bad then.
It'll be a long time before you ever see me again.
But this game has 50 levels, a beefy amount of content for a game if you ask me, so let's see what those levels have. Maybe at level 39 I'll start to like the game. You have 5 worlds throughout the game, the first one being downtown. It's painfully easy and really boring. It just introduces you to the main mechanics and stuff, and it got really stale after a while. There's hot dog guys, skunks, buildings, mailboxes, Barky McTreeface, and balls.
Fortnite balls!
There's a lot of enemy variety in this game, but most of them kind of just function the exact same, just stomping on them. And the boss in this level is painfully easy with Flippy the Gyro. I speed ran with no hits. The second world is the cop station after Chief gets locked up and replaced by RoboCop. Okay, this begs the question, how big is this police station? I enjoy this world a lot more than the last one because I like the venting mechanics introduced here and the door switches, and there's a part where there's a giant donut. There's some new enemies such as these cops, vacuums, rolling donuts. And this game introduces more mechanics like the grapple ability, which can be pretty weird to control at times, but I don't know, I blame the controller. And it gets a little bit more difficult. Even the boss is better and is a nice reference to his appearance in the books. The next world is the Marshmallow Factory as a bunch of living marshmallows attack the city. There's not a lot of enemy variety in this one, just a little robots and a bunch of marshmallows, either single, stacked, or on fire. But they're all original characters, so that's pretty interesting. This world is filled with moving platformers, gears, and stuff. However, I just couldn't help but feel like this is a worse version of the factory world from Donkey Kong Country Returns. But we get introduced to Little Petey's computer ability, which I will admit is a pretty cool and creative item, but it forces me to play as Little Petey more. And I hate Little Petey.
Honestly, if I saw that damn thing in my living room, I'd stomp on it until it was a small brown stain.
And we get ADHD's Rocket Boots, and okay, another reason why he's the best character in the game. Marshmallow Piggy is an easy final boss, just avoid his bomb and melt the cum monster. We then go to the Snowy Mountains, which is a nice homage to the second best book, and we have to fight Grandpa, who is freed by Piggy. The snowy atmosphere is very nice, and we get new music. Yes, yes, yes!
Hell yeah!
Hey, come on, baby!
And it builds upon the game's already existing mechanics. Like Dog Man's digging mechanic can be used to dig through snow. Although I will admit, the ice physics in this world can get annoying. But it's a nice change of pace with new enemies such as squirrels, snowmen, and prison dogs alongside other rethemed enemies. We get Dog Man's glider mechanic, which is also kind of awkward to control, but whatever. And we get ADHD's cutting ability, which is probably the most useless in the game because these ropes in these levels don't really offer anything. And the boss fight with the incredible Grud, aka Grandpa, is probably the best in the game, with you have to avoiding his 6 giant arms, a giant snowball that he throws, and his stomps, and you have to collect this magnet to put him up in the air and defeat him. But it's easy just like the rest of the levels because they all move really slow and it's really easy to beat them. And the final world is Dog Man's house, as Piggy is completely taken over. At this point of the game, I was actually starting to like it a little more. It has its problems, but I was starting to like the game for what it was. Bravo, Vince! And to my surprise, this world stands as a nice culmination of everything this game has built up, as all of its mechanics are pretty cool and well executed in this world. Some new parts of this world include these yarn enemies, bathtubs, and gator toys, and we get little Petey's shrink ray ability. The setting of Dog Man's house makes this world feel very creative, and for the first time in this game, I can say that there was a challenging level. Like, my favorite level in this entire game has to be the secret level in this game because it was actually hard and brought me back to the pain that Donkey Kong Country gives me. And then it's the final boss with Piggy and...
Hold up.
This is just Lord Frederick's boss in Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze! There's the second stage of the fight though with Piggy and his giant robot. Just spam the circle button and bam, you're done. Final cutscene plays, you save the city, roll credit, boom, game over.
Yo, go on mute, JP. Go on mute, JP.
What the? As a Dog Man adaptation, Dog Man Mission Impossible is a great Dog Man game. But I wouldn't really say it's a great game. Again, this game is clearly a budget title meant for kids, but there's so much better alternatives out there. My problem isn't that it's easy, my problem is that it's generic. And once again, the $40 price tag. It's pretty egregious. That alone altered my perception of this game way more than it would have otherwise. Because otherwise, this is a pretty nice treat for Dog Man fans, and with a price cut, I actually would recommend it. For the amount of content that you're getting, regardless of the quality or presentation, I'd say this game is actually pretty worth it. Plus its love for the source material gives it a lot of value. I just don't think it's worth $40. But that's enough of my opinion. Let's see what my friends thought of the Dog Man game.
So, how does this work again?
Epic fail.
What am I supposed to do about that?
Idiot, you're supposed to jump on him. You said you platinumed all the Souls games?
Yeah.
And you couldn't beat this.
I don't want to hear it.
You gotta jump on him.
Does this work?
See, this is just like Lord Frederick. Remember when I kept telling you how like bad his hitbox was and like how I couldn't do it?
Wait, what am I doing? Shrink ray. What is he talking about?
Switch to little Petey. Triangle. Just spam it before you die. There you go. It's like a reference to one of the books.
Oh, it's in the first book. I remember.
There you go. Now you want to do that 2 more times. Oh. You know, not die.
Yeah. Huh? And that's GG's. I like it. Oh, his animation when he jumps looks a little weird. You see that?
Yeah. Yeah, you can like climb walls as him.
How the fuck do I get over there? How the fuck do I get over there? Hold on, watch this, Come over here. 1, 2, no, wait, hold on, watch.
You just kind of jump when you're like at the second part.
Bowie. What are you talking about? You don't know ball.
You don't switch. Huh? Stay as him.
I'm literally jumping.
Here, hold this. Hold this. Okay.
I'm finna block the camera with the camera the whole time. You made that up. See, you're wrong.
Wait, watch this, because I know ball. I'm gonna do this, because I'm a genius. I'm a genius! See, y'all don't know ball how I know ball. I might be like geniuser than any of y'all.
But what the hell?
Wait, you can go backwards? Oh, I wish I'd have known that before.
I pretty much told you that.
Wrong.
What the hell are you talking about?
I know ball. You know what I'm saying? Oh, freak.
Oh, you idiot. Jump on him.
You jump on him. Wrong. No, they can't see my face. Oh. Let's switch to this dude. I'm a genius. Oh, that's the dude. Okay. No. Oh, freak.
Run, bro, run.
Is this Indiana Jones?
Call me Indiana Jones. This is the sound of a robot.
Is that Pete Davidson?
Yeah, that's Pete.
How the hell? That was good, Sway. Watch this, because, you know, I'm a genius! So I'm gonna switch to bro right here, because she's goated. Oh, there's a tree! What the hell?
Oh, Zach. So, what do you think of the Dog Man?
I mean, it's just a generic platformer, I guess, but it's alright.
Wrong. This is the best game known to man.
So, yeah, pretty good game. 8 out of 10. Would play again.
I think that's everybody. Hope there's nobody's still waiting. Oh.
Smells like ass in here.
Bro, come on, bro.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of buns at this game.
Bro played for like a total of 1 minute.
A man realizes when he's not cut out for this. Yo, am I just cooked you?
No, just switch the character. They're smaller.
Oh, wait, I forgot about that.
Now you're in the vents. Like a...
Oh, this is like a...
No! Thoughts?
That game is buns, yo.
So after playtesting this game with multiple test subjects, I think they liked it. So yeah, for my final verdict, I'm giving this game a 6 out of 10. And plugging into this tier list, I'm going to give it, sadly, D tier. Again, I don't think it's bad, but for as it is, I can't rank it that high. You're stuck with a pretty generic game that I couldn't see anybody outside of the community enjoying. But for what it is a nice little game that I had a okay time playing. That's about it. Make sure to subscribe and stuff. And if you'll excuse me, I'll be at the earliest screening of the Dog Man movie! Oh my god. Hey gamers, Damon here. I finally got to watch the Dog Man movie! So after all this time, what's that thing of it? I didn't like it. Ha! Got ya. I loved it! And today I'm gonna give my spoiler-free review of the movie. This is just my general thoughts on the movie, but I do plan on making a giant video essay about this movie when it releases on digital. So be on the lookout for that. But as of right now, I loved every second of this movie, even though it wasn't perfect. As expected, this movie is a almost near flawless adaptation of the books, down to the last minute details, with only a few new additions and changes that I cannot wait to show and go in depth about at a later date. From various Easter eggs to direct quotes from the books, there's so much care and love put into every frame of this movie. There was multiple moments where I was pointing at the screen like the Wojak. Of course, not everybody's gonna appreciate that level of detail, but for those who love the series like me, those small things mean everything. For what this movie wanted to be, this movie succeeded with flying colors. This movie adapts so much from the books in a mostly coherent and entertaining way. That was a blast from start to finish, while also being really heartfelt. The film is visually stunning and is a huge step up from the Captain Underpants movie, taking more advantage of the comic book art style and the Spider-Verse influence. It is simply gorgeous. That, alongside the score, helped create tons of fun fight sequences and montages. The humor was also really solid throughout. Not every joke landed, but the ones that did really landed. Some jokes felt right out of the epic tales of Captain Underpants, but in a good way.
Congratulations, you know.
Which isn't that shocking because the writer and director Peter Hastings was the showrunner of that show.
Guacamole? Hey yo, chill the fuck out, yo. You sitting there playing with the
By the way, hey Peter, if you're watching this, love you bro. But alongside the comedic moments, there's a lot of scenes where the film slows down and gives us some really good and emotional scenes. I love the themes of this movie about abandonment. It fits really well with the already existing source material. It ended up really working for me because I really enjoyed the characters throughout this movie. Even the characters I didn't care for in the books. Like the mayor, for example, which... hear me out. To start, there's the titular Dog Man himself, who unlike his book counterpart, is given a lot more depth.
as he has a character arc dealing with the loss of Officer Knight, which is something the books shockingly never did. It ends up giving him so much more likability and charm, and I was pleasantly surprised. And it's great seeing him be a silent protagonist and not played by a useless celebrity. Dog Man's really cute and enjoyable and given a lot of time to shine throughout the movie. But the highlight of the movie is, of course, Petey the cat, played by Pete Davidson.
Bacon, bacon, bacon.
He's shockingly really good, where there was multiple times where I didn't even know he was played by Pete Davidson. He's handled really well in this movie, as he's enjoyable as a villain, but we're still given a lot of his depth from future books, which once again is really well executed and was probably the best part of the movie. And his dynamic with Dog Man is really enjoyable. It's so gay-core! Also, now that I've seen the movie, I can officially say Petey had no reason to hit this pose. Freaky ass cat. By the way, those who think that Petey gets way more of a spotlight than Dog Man in this movie, welcome to being a Dog Man fan! Anyways, for the first time ever, I can finally say that I loved little Petey's character. I adored him in this movie. He's not annoying at all, and he's so darn cute and adorable. Way more than he ever was in the books, in my opinion. I think a large part of that goes to the voice actor, Lucas Hopkins. And of course, his interactions with Petey is so darn cute.
Wait 18 years for your clone to reach adulthood? What? 18 years? No!
But the rest of the cast is also enjoyable, like Chief and Sarah Hadoff, played by Little Rel Howery and Isla Fisher respectively. Both of them fit their role shockingly really well, and they each have their own standout moments and bits, especially Chief. I really loved his dynamic with Dog Man. But one minor complaint, and sort of a light spoiler, but I didn't really care for Chief's crush on Sarah. It felt really unnecessary. It's different from the books, and in this movie it's like brought up like 3 times to the point where they could have just removed it and nothing would change. It just feels really forced and takes the cake for the most useless heterosexual romance in an animated movie. Why couldn't they just be good friends? His loss, in my opinion, because I know you see Bear looking so fine, yelling at Chief.
Yeah, that brother's starving.
Yes, sir, brother. I enjoyed the rest of the characters too, like ADHD, Petey's butler.
Can I have tomorrow off? It's my mother's birthday.
Big Jim, who's only given a few lines, that man better stay in his place. And even Grandpa shows up. And then there's Flippy the Fish, played by Ricky Gervais, which, for the first time ever, I liked a Ricky Gervais performance. But this kind of leads into my biggest issue with the movie, and that's the pacing. The main thing I've seen people complain about the movie is how fast it feels at times, and for the first 30 minutes or so, I definitely understand. Even I was taken aback about how fast things were going. It's not that big of an issue for me because of how much they put in those fast moments, you know, as a longtime fan. And the movie does know when to slow down when it really matters, like the emotional moments, to where I still think those emotional moments hit, but the movie could have definitely slowed things down, but because of that, sometimes the movie does feel a bit rushed. And the only time I really felt that way was with the introduction of Flippy. It's something that's very quickly established and brought up that I kinda wish that we were able to see it instead of just being told it. I mean, it didn't bother me too much because I read the books, but I can definitely see someone not knowing the books being really confused. But at least Flippy's handled a lot better for the rest of the movie and helps create a really entertaining climax that was peak cinema. But in general, if the movie was a bit longer, it could have fixed a lot of these issues for people and would have given the jokes some breathing room. But pretty much every other problem with the movie kind of just comes down to personal preference. I mean, personally, the only thing I didn't like was the Young Gravy song at the end.
We had a good thing, you stupid son of a bitch. We had Fring. We had a lab. We had everything we needed. It all ran like clockwork. You could have shut your mouth, cooked, and made as much money as you ever needed. It was perfect. But no, you just had to blow it up. You and your pride and your ego. You just had to be the man. If you'd done your job, known your place, we'd all be fine right now.
Sorry. I mean, it's better than Vultures 2. They should have just played Venom by Eminem at the end. Okay, actually I listened to this song like 50 more billion times, and I kinda like it now.
Super fly, super good, shoulda, coulda, knew I would.
Overall, Dog Man is a really fun, heartfelt, and great movie. It's not perfect. Hell, I wouldn't even say it's better than Captain Underpants. But in my opinion, none of that matters, because this is the movie that feels right out of my 10-year-old self. The amount of love and passion put into every frame of this movie shines throughout. It's really hard to describe how much this movie means to me, but I bet one day I will. So with that, I'm going to give Dog Man a 10 out of 10. Shocker! And plugging it into the Dog Man tier list, I'm going to give it an S tier. But that's what I thought of the movie. Let's see what the general audience thought about the Dog Man movie. And by general audiences, I mean my friend Joseph.
Hey gamers, my tire just came flat during the Dog Man movie.
I probably just finished yapping about the movie for like a really long time, but I watched it with Joseph here. What did you think of the movie, Joseph?
It was everything to me. And they threw him away like he was nothing.
I said spoiler free, Joseph! Give me like your spoiler free thoughts of the movie.
It was good. It was very good.
If you had to give it a score out of 10, Joseph, what would you rate it, Joseph?
It was a solid D for Dog Man, a nice solid 8.
Okay, so I kind of gotta go. Joseph, enjoy fixing your car. I'm out. Bye, buddy. Bye.
Where'd you go?
Okay, so this is the part where I normally would end the video, but I thought it'd be fun to talk about some Dog Man movie merchandise. We're first gonna take a look at the Art of Dog Man book. It's a really great read that goes in depth on how this movie was made and everything that made it so good. An amazing read, would recommend. Next we got the Dog Man limited edition collector's comic. How do I have it? Well, let's just say my mom's a teacher. This is super duper rare and it's just a little promotional comic that I was able to get my hands on. And I bet 90% of you people don't even have this and only know what's in it because I posted it. You're welcome, by the way. It's perfect for my collection. I love this thing. Going on to some theater merchandise, we have the Dog Man popcorn bucket. This is from AMC and it's designed like a dog bowl. I really like it. I enjoy eating popcorn out of it like a dog. There's also this cup and topper that I got from AMC. This is really enjoyable, even if it's a little bit small. AMC also gave out these 2 keychains. And there are tons of action figures and plushes by Jack Specific. The ones I have right now is the Dog Man action figure, which has pretty good articulation, has a couple cool props, and that's kind of it. Dog Man looks a little bit cursed from this angle, though. And we have this action figure pack that includes Chief, Dog Man, PD, Little PD, and Flippy. I'm not taking them out of the box though. This is a collector's item. And yeah, that's kind of it. I didn't talk about everything. How could I forget the totally not bad Roblox collaboration? But I'll get them eventually. How could I not get the little PD plush with the giant forehead?
I'll be crying if I look like that too, bro. That's fucked up what they be doing to y'all.
That's it. Dog Man season's finally over, right? No. I need to rank every single Cat Cake Comic Club alongside every Captain Underpants spinoff. And finally, make my video essay about the movie. But after that, I'm all done. Oh, god damn it!
You know, in general, I don't really even think about, you would probably say this is a kid's movie. I never think about that. And I don't think about it, oh, it's a kid's movie that adults will like, or it's an adult movie that kids will like. I just think of it as like, you know, for people. And one of the people that I really want to have like it is me. And so it's really making something that I just think is really strong and fun and has a lot of universal kind of stuff.
Hey gamers, Damon here. You know what this video is. My giant video essay about the Dog Man movie. The movie has finally finished its theatrical run and has officially released to everybody. So, spoiler warning if you haven't seen it. And if you haven't, I definitely recommend it. And ever since my initial viewing, I just knew I had to spend an hour talking about it. I guess you could say that I liked the movie. So not only do I intend to telling you how much I love this movie, but to show off the amazing work, passion, and love from everybody who made it. But for those who don't know, Dog Man is a 2025 computer animated film released by DreamWorks Animation, starring Pete Davidson, Lil Rel Howery, Isla Fisher, Ricky Gervais, and others, and written and directed by Peter Hastings, based on the popular book series of the same name, created by Dave Pilkey in the spin-off / spiritual successor to the Captain Underpants series, which also had its own movie release back in 2017. If you're a long-time viewer of my channel, then you probably know how much I love these books. Shameless plug! These books have been the biggest inspiration for my entire life, and I probably wouldn't be the man I am today without them. And I've officially talked about almost everything I can related to this series. It's been an incredible journey to get to this point, so I thought it's no better time to finally talk about why the Dog Man movie is an underrated masterpiece. But before I tell you that story, I have to tell you this story. In 2020, we would get the announcement that DreamWorks was developing a movie based on the Dog Man series, written and directed by Peter Hastings, who previously worked as an executive producer on the epic tales of Captain Underpants. And as a pretty big Dog Man fan, I was pretty excited. The Dog Man series was still going strong at this point, and was praised and loved for Dave Pilkey's signature humor, but mixed with emotional storytelling. But pretty much, this movie had a lot of potential, especially with my good friend Peter Hastings working on it. Can you quickly, introduce yourself real quick?
Hey, I'm Peter Hastings, and I'm the writer and director of the Dog Man movie.
Woo! He's like the perfect choice to make this movie. I mean, he's worked on Dave Pilkey adaptations before.
Well, the movie's been really fun to work on. I previously did Captain Underpants TV series, which I know you know that. So I got to know Dave Pilkey a little bit and work with him and work, kind of in that sort of Pilkey world. I really like his sense of humor. It's very close to mine. And then also where he goes kind of emotionally with his stories too. So I was doing a lot of TV, and then the studio wanted to do Dog Man movie. I already had a relationship with Dave, so I came on to do the movie. It was very fun to have the opportunity to do the movie. I really liked the material, and just kind of had a blast doing it.
And something important to mention is the current state of animation at this time. With the new decade, we started seeing a shift in animated movies moving away from the more Disney and Pixar inspired animation that prioritized realism, and instead a more stylized direction popularized by films like Into the Spider-Verse, becoming the new standard for animation. But something you might want to remember is how it wasn't just Spider-Verse that popularized this type of animation, as you can kind of credit other animated films for being prior instances of stylized animation. One of those being Captain Underpants, the first epic movie. And that movie wasn't really a hit by any means, but starting around 2021 and 2022, the Captain Underpants movie started to gain a cult following, with many calling it underrated and begging for a sequel that will never happen, and would spawn several internet memes based off of it, which are still made to this day.
Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. I did.
It's been really fun to see happening, especially because I was one of the first people that started doing it. And that demand for a sequel can be kind of fulfilled by the existence of a Dog Man movie, because it's kind of the closest we're gonna get. And again, in a post-Spider-Verse world, it has the potential to be a big success. So with all that in mind, the hype was there. And what came out of it? Well, I was too busy building a career on YouTube. The Dog Man movie was just kinda there. We all knew that it was coming out, but we didn't get any updates for the longest time.
So I started pitching it and writing it almost 5 years ago. 4 years ago for sure. I think my first pitch to Dave for the movie was March 2020, so that was 5 years ago, but I didn't really start writing until the fall.
It got to a point where me and others started making videos speculating if it was still in the works. It got a little worrying. Pretty much, we were giving the movie free marketing that we did not get credit for, by the way, and this would kind of be a bad omen for the future. But we would get confirmation from Peter Hastings that the movie was, yes, still in the works. Thank God. It wouldn't be until February of 2024 when we would actually get an update on the movie, where we got a release date of January 31st, 2025, and we proceeded to get the most basic plot summary of the movie. Oh wow, the movie's gonna be about a dog and a cop getting an explosion to make Dog Man. Whoa, really? But it didn't matter. The movie was less than a year away. The hype train had begun, and all we had to do is wait. And we certainly did. Months would go by without any updates. No information about the film or the cast. But during that summer, we would be released to what would become the main form of advertising for the movie. Leaks! The first leak was the logo being revealed for an ad for the upcoming book Big Jim Begins. But we would also get an online listing for the movie's art book, which normally wouldn't be a big deal until you realize that that cover was our first look of what the movie would look like. We were desperate, man, for anything. And then there was a leak by Daniel RPK that said that Pete Davidson was cast in the movie. And we lost it. It calmed down a bit though, and people then assumed that he was playing Petey the Cat.
Take your pants off.
An odd choice to be sure, but it had potential. We just have to let him cook. I mean, what other prior voice acting experience does Pete Davidson have? Oh, and also, we got Dog Man's design leaked via a restaurant menu. What? Huh? September came by. You would get a leak saying that the film had a trailer ready to release that Tuesday, Monday, one day before the Dog Man trailer. We would get a leak that would give us the first possible look at the movie's poster. We would then get a more in-depth plot synopsis for the film, revealing more of the plot and cast. Pete Davidson being confirmed to play Petey the Cat.
So is this a dog? What? Is this thing a dog?
And then the next day came. The trailer came out. And let's just say, it was fantastic. The animation looked amazing. Oh my god, the plot looked so cool. Oh, the cast sounded good in the roles. Oh, it was a dream come true. And Dog Man was confirmed to be a silent protagonist. Yes! It was just a genuinely good trailer, and a lot of info for the movie was hidden from the trailer. So there was so much stuff that still had to be revealed.
It was kind of fun when we put out the trailer originally. Little Petey was not in the first trailer, and a lot of the sort of comments we'd see were like, what, no Little Petey? But people who really know the books paid attention and they said, wait a minute, Petey makes Little Petey by using his whisker. And they noticed in the trailer that there was a time when he only had 2 whiskers on one side. So it confirmed for everybody, it's like, no, Little Petey's in the movie. He's definitely in the movie.
And the fans loved it. We ate it up. And from what I could tell, it was generally well received by general audiences.
And it was great to see the response to the trailer when it first came out was really great, and people doing little reaction videos and freaking out. The common thing was like, hey Minecraft, here's how you do a trailer. Of course, Minecraft has absolutely crushed us.
Good job! We can only go up from here, right? Right? It didn't, because little did we know, that would be the only trailer we would get for the movie. I'm serious. We didn't get a second trailer ever. So for everybody coping for a second trailer coming out, Dog Man Twitter pretty much had to market the entire movie by themselves. Because all DreamWorks really did was interact with the fan base. So that was really cool. But DreamWorks, can you please market your movie? All they would do was act like any other normal corporate Twitter account, where they would post these random videos of a Dog Man mascot costume doing whatever that is. Oh, but the leaks didn't stop either. The second poster got leaked, which is even funnier because I have it on my wall. We would get shown some of the merchandise for the movie, like toys, plushes, and the Dog Man popcorn bucket, revealing new renders for characters that we didn't even know were in the movie yet. We would later get a rare Dog Man mini promotional comic, which you could only get by being a teacher or student if you ordered a book from the Scholastic's book club, which would show even more screenshots and characters from the movie. So it didn't really do a good job for marketing the movie because of how rare it was. So what was the point? Later on, Peter Hastings himself would create an Instagram account where he would post various behind the scenes information and photos, which was great to see. I liked every post, but it didn't really help market the film outside of the people that already were gonna see it. Meanwhile, over at DreamWorks, where they just casually dropped Little Petey's voice actor in a random Instagram post. Okay. We would also get a big interview reviewing a lot about the film's plot and characters, which, to be fair, made the film look even more promising than it already was. It revealed that Pete Davidson has actually read the Dog Man books. You alright, white boy? But the biggest info that we would get was that the film's theme song was being made by Young Gravy. We reacted accordingly. The final nail in the coffin was the Dog Man movie art book being leaked, because I guess some people got their hands on it a whole month before it came out. And yeah, it kind of spoiled half the movie. It was an amazing read for sure, but it kind of ruined a lot of the surprises. Kind of had to gaslight myself not knowing what was gonna happen. Oh, and by the way, the Young Gravy song got leaked. We were not happy.
Super fly, super good, shoulda coulda, knew I would.
January, 1 month before the Dog Man movie, and surprisingly, the marketing actually got good. We got various behind the scenes videos with Peter and other members of the cast, which wasn't a second trailer, but what the hell, sure. We would start to see a lot more TV spots too, many of which were being filmed on people's TV or inside theaters, but eventually would be released HD slowly over the month. The marketing started to take full swing, with DreamWorks posting more clips and ads, and all the merchandise starting to roll out.
We got an actual Dog Man toy? Wait.
And they had the highest honor a movie can have, getting a shitty Roblox collaboration, taking notes from Black Adam, I see.
Oh, he was also part of Universal Studios for a bit.
He's loose! But all of this kind of felt too little too late. Also, they posted an AI generated ad. Twice!
That was really bad.
The final weeks came around.
Dog Man! Just a week away.
The Young Gravy song dropped, and it took me over 100 listens, but I finally started to like it. And then it finally released. I wasn't invited to premiere. 0 out of 10, worst movie ever. But yeah, that's the entire production history of the Dog Man movie. Build up to release was quite a ride, and I hope I was able to perfectly document what that experience was like. Huge shout out to Minions Fanboy on Twitter and Dog Man Movie Leaks on Twitter and YouTube for posting many of these leaks and videos. And I also want to shout out everybody on Dog Man Twitter, except for the DD shippers. I don't like you guys. And one thing that we can all agree on was that the marketing could have been a lot better. Like, come on, only one trailer?
Really, EA? Really?
DreamWorks, we need to talk. If movies bombing left and right, it's kind of more important to ever to make sure that you have good marketing for your movie. And DreamWorks is no stranger to having box office bombs.
It's a sick world we're living in. Sick people.
Dog Man is literally the first movie post them shutting down their in-house animation studio, with animation now being outsourced, which might not be as reliable as they expected, because unfortunately, after the release of Dog Man, the animation studio behind it, Jellyfish Pictures, shut down due to financial troubles.
So it's really a budgetary concern to take the animation to another studio. So we ended up at Jellyfish, which was in London. It is a bit of the roll of the dice when you're using an outside studio. And then Jellyfish, unfortunately, not due to our movie, but just to the business in general, just didn't have enough work coming in. Particularly, as an effects house, because they did a lot of effects work. That totally has dropped off so much in the last couple of years that it's affected all these other business like effects houses and caterers, and it's kind of the financial way of the world right now. Is what's happening.
The only explanation that we've received is some possible issues with the Dog Man trademark. But yeah, it's pretty clear that DreamWorks did not have that much faith in Dog Man.
A lot of it has to do just kind of with where you are and also what they believe return on a movie could be. I mean, most of the market that I saw was pretty strong. I'm in LA, so if I go to, kind of a big mall, it was like they plastered that place. Maybe they did it because I live close. So I personally didn't have particular marketing issues, and so.
But it just sucks because this movie really could have been a big hit, because Dog Man is still really popular. This is like children's Bible. I'm assuming this movie had a low marketing budget. It only had a total budget of $40 million, but the marketing did the film so dirty. People didn't even know it existed the week it was coming out. And it didn't help either that it would release in other countries of the world way later than America, as far back as April. But to be fair, Cats Underpants also didn't have good marketing.
I said I played these games before!
In fact, it probably had worse. Have you guys rewatched the initial trailer for the Captain Underpants movie? It kinda sucked. And that movie had a budget of only $38 million and grossed a total of $125 million worldwide, and never got #1 at the box office, yet was still deemed successful. So with all that in mind, how did Dog Man ultimately perform? Shockingly, pretty well. In fact, it overperformed, earning $38 million on its opening weekend at #1, and quickly earned back its budget, despite only being released in the US, and was well received by general audiences, with a certified fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes. And by the end of its theatrical run, it would ultimately outgross the Captain Underpants movie with $145 million worldwide. Congratulations, Dog Man! You did it! The movie was released on digital only 2 weeks after it released. But yeah, despite all the odds, Dog Man did pretty well, which probably goes to show how popular these books still are.
You know, the movie opened really well the very first weekend, and that was such a fan base kind of thing. You know, because generally with Dog Man, it's like people, they either haven't heard of it or they're freaks about it. So it's like with kids, or I would talk to adults and I would say like, oh yeah, I'm working on Dog Man, like their jaw drops open, and then they would say like, oh, my kid sleeps with his books, and it's just like they have all of them and they've read them over and over. So it's very fun that the reception from the fans of the books was really, really good. In general, the sort of, if somebody got on board with kind of our crazy energy, the reviews were all good. The ones that weren't so good were sort of like, this movie is very frantic. I wanted to do a thing in the beginning of the movie where Sarah Hadoff ends up interviewing an old guy who happens to be Grandpa, and he says like, I don't like these movies, they're too crazy and go too fast. I like movies that are boring and everybody dies.
But to fully understand its success, we must now finally dive into the actual movie now. In my Captain Underpants movie video, I went over what I consider to be a perfect adaptation. Unfortunately, that video is old and bad, so instead, I had the amazing YouTuber Awesome May to explain it instead.
Hey guys, I think it's very smart that Crazy Gamer Inc. decided to call up an expert in the field of animated adaptations. LS Mark, just kidding, Awesome May, me. I've said it a million times and I'll say it again, a good animated adaptation to me reaches the perfect balance of giving the fans of whatever the project is being influenced or based on what they vision themselves while still giving them something outside of that vision, so a project isn't just fandom bait. A perfect adaptation is a film or TV show that represents the overall aesthetic and world, but doesn't feel bounded by the world, and allows itself to step out of the source material comfort zone, and if it can accomplish this, it's done its duty as being a successful add-on to the adapted universe, and not just a bonus or copy. To me, Lego Batman has always been my favorite example of this. It takes all of the silly tropes from the original Batmans and uses it to make the film a more comedic parody focus of the character, but still allows itself to be emotional and represent and be closely related to Batman's canon lonely side. And although this movie wouldn't count as a book adaptation like Dog Man, I think it's an amazing example of expanding existing characters, but keeping the overall personalities. The Garfield movie almost seemed to go for this, but ended up feeling like it didn't actually have anything for Garfield to truly accomplish, so it threw in this totally unrelated story and then sprinkled in a few iconic Garfield moments and called it a day. So in a nutshell, too many references to source material, bad, and straying off too far from source material, also bad. It's all about the art of meeting in the middle. Did any of this make sense? I don't know. Enjoy the rest of the video.
Thanks, Awesome May. So as someone who's covered literally every aspect of the Dog Man and Captain Underpants franchise, my opinion should be taken as fact when I say that this movie is the most perfect adaptation I have ever seen, in ways surpassing the Captain Underpants movie. And I'm going to show the full extent of that, because that is how good it is. From its very first frames, this movie makes one thing perfectly clear. It knows exactly what it is. It's a Dog Man movie. It knows why this series works.
Dave puts in wonderful messages about family and about doing good. He also goes to some surprisingly deep places. They're all hidden in there under this really fun and silly and crazy story.
See? Took the words out of my mouth. And being a spiritual successor to the Captain Underpants movie, a lot of the film's qualities can be found in Dog Man 2, from the animation, characters, humor, plot, and themes. And once again, that is in large part to the writer and director Peter Hastings. He has a long history in animation, working on shows such as Animaniacs and most importantly, the Captain Underpants show. And the humor of these shows are very prominent in Dog Man, and they work really well here. It's random yet witty, and that alongside his already existing understanding of Dave Pilkey's work makes him the perfect fit as director.
It's really important to me to appeal to as many people as you can, but not necessarily by saying like, okay, this is a dumb thing for the kids and here's like a snarky thing for the adults. It's really like, what can you do that sort of works for everybody? And that was always always kind of worked that way. It's like, what can you make that's just like for people, regardless of their age? But I never write like to kids. This is like, I think this is dumb and stupid, but kids will like it. I mean, the thing is, we don't really have fart jokes in this movie, but, you know, there's things like that, or people falling down, or, you know, silly physical comedy and things like that. And, you know, adults laugh at that stuff.
And on an unrelated note, huge shout out to him. He is a great guy. I love his work. He signed me all this cool stuff. I respect him so much as a writer and as someone that I inspire to be.
What's on your shirt? I can't see.
Oh, yes. There's a Captain Underpants shirt here.
Nice. Wow.
So, there's a good chance that he is watching this very video, so I just have one simple request. I'd love to make a cameo in a sequel or a potential TV show. I'll literally do it for free. Just DM me, man. Anyways, the animation is really well done in this movie as well. With only a small $40 million budget, the team over at Jellyfish Animation and production designer Nate Ragg did an excellent job at capturing the designs of these books while also looking technically impressive at the same time. Unfortunately, like I mentioned before, the studio has shut down, which really sucks because now many talented artists are now out of a job. So I'd like to give a huge shout out to all the animators of this movie. Like I mentioned earlier, in a post-Spider-Verse world, it is nice seeing more films that push the envelope of what animation is capable of.
You know, one of the things we really tried to do was to kind of make the books like come to life. So I think there's some sort of limitations in our design style and things like that that we put on it. Like the characters look like they do in the books. They're just big round circles. You know, we tried for like 5 seconds to like, what if we redesigned these characters so they were more, you know, movie? And it just like instantly looked terrible.
Dog Man doesn't really revolutionize anything in this regard, but the rest of the film does a great job for what it sets out to do.
But again, it's about also retaining charm, and you know, it's not trying to make the world's largest movie, but trying to make it large emotionally and enjoyable.
The team wanted to go for, quotes, a high-end handmade approach, reminiscent of stop motion.
Dave Pilkey is a big fan of stop motion, and studios generally don't want to make stop motion movies because they don't make a ton of money. The question was sort of like, what is the quality of stop motion that we can bring into this?
It helps capture the film's 2D art style into a 3D animated movie, with the designs being really simplistic yet detailed with texture. And the animators knew that nailing that aspect was essential for this movie.
It's really a very important part of the tone of the whole series. And I think when you take a book and you want to bring it into a movie, one of the really tricky things is not just telling the story, but discovering what is the spirit of that book series. What's the spirit of it? What's the tone of it? What is the vibe of it? Because that's really why people like it.
The mission statement extends to the backgrounds that are filled with creative set design, vibrant colors, funny details, and Easter eggs. And you bet my ass that I've noticed every last one. Everything helps to emphasize the fact that this film was created by 2 4th graders, with nothing being designed with a straight line. The film also takes advantage of this with various texts appearing throughout the film, like a comic book, and various other elements throughout the film that give it so much flair. This elevates the various montages and fight sequences. And I'd also like to praise some of the character animation too, especially on Dog Man, and highlight some of the creative designs of Petey's inventions, both the original designs and the ones from the books.
What really makes it live and look great, it's not about making it perfect, it's about making it imperfect. It's like all the imperfections are really what bring life to so many of these things. You know, if this robot was completely perfect, shiny everywhere, it would not have the same spirit and vibe that it does. And it's even true of people. It's sort of like, what makes people interesting? It's like, it's their imperfections, right? As long as you're accepting them. And this robot is such a great example of this.
Just great work from everybody involved, and I'm so impressed by the animation displayed here, where even people that don't like the rest of the movie can still appreciate the animation.
So I'm happy with the way that we transferred the feeling, not just the look, but the feeling of the books onto the big screen.
I completely agree. But there's a whole bunch of other details for the film that are also really well done, like the score by Tom Howell being a really great fit for the film. It has a lot of big band jazz that feels really perfect for Dog Man. It's like if the Dog Man game didn't have stock music.
The musical!
They help elevate the movie's scenes to new heights I don't think they could have otherwise. And on top of that, it is legit a banger. Yo, yo, yo! Ah! Oh, come on! So yeah, the soundtrack is a banger. I've even warmed up the Super Good. It's not as good as the Captain Underpants theme song, but it's catchy. I like the sample. It has a Talladega Nights reference in it. That's kind of it. And another great aspect of the film that it nails is the casting. And the fact that this film holds back on using a bunch of big name celebrities and has a large presence of more traditional voice actors is really commendable. Like, sure, there are some big name celebrities like Pete Davidson and Ricky Gervais, but each of them play roles that fit them really well, further emphasizing the film's understanding of these series characters, which that I will highlight later. But a lot of the smaller roles like Little Petey, Big Jim, Grandpa, etc. don't get a big name celebrity attached to them, which is great in their own right. And once again, Dog Man, the title character, is a silent protagonist. How often do you see that?
I was trying to answer the question of like, can I have a lead character who doesn't talk at all? He's not going to do any talking. You know, we asked a bunch of actors and we are like, hey, do you want to play the lead character in this movie? And they're like, really? That sounds interesting. And then we say like, he doesn't talk. It's like, okay, maybe not.
It's just various dog sounds being done by Peter Hastings. If only I could see what it looked like in the recording booth. But all this adds up to an already solid story for the film, mainly adapting the first 3 and 7th books.
This particular story is primarily from the 3rd book, and I chose that one because I think it's where the Dog Man series really becomes its own. The first book is kind of feels like an offshoot of Captain Underpants, and the second one is more Dog Man, and then the third one introduces new characters and new situations, and I think it kind of really locked in. Amazingly, and this is unusual in an animated movie, we pretty much made the story that I started out with. In fact, I had a board with 3x5 cards where I laid out the story, and then I never touched it again. It was sitting in a closet. After the movie came out, I pulled that thing out and I was like, oh my gosh, this is pretty much what we did. A lot of that has to do because a lot of it's based on the 3rd book. It's kind of a peak book, and I always felt like it's sort of like where Dave Pilkey really hit his stride with Dog Man.
I don't know if I said this before, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this movie's a perfect adaptation. Many plot beats, characters, and quotes are taken directly from the source material, and there's even deep cut references like this line being referenced to Dave Pilkey himself.
It's the kids who got kicked out of class and drew comics instead.
To Little Petey going missing frame for frame exactly like it is in the books. Or the punctuation of words being wrong, like seriously, like seriously. A reference to how George and Harold's comics are often misspelled.
Look, how could we pass this up? We'll take 2 insults, please. You'll take what we give you, pizza pants. Pizza pants? Is that really the best you can do? We're just warming up, you twinkle 2 salad spinners. Go sit in the puddle, you 2-eyed taffy tigglers.
I could list more examples of this, but this video would be like 10 hours long. And for the most part, the film does a good job balancing everything for a feature film, especially with a tight 90-minute runtime.
So the hard part is that when you go through the books and you can't really only do one book, because these books, they don't quite work as movies. You've got to kind of build it out. Is that there's so many great moments, there's so many great beats, and it's like, oh, I'd like to include this, I'd like to do this. It was always the same thing, like if we were able to do, a sequel, and you start looking at all this stuff, and you go like, oh, I really like the Fair Fairy, and I really like the Fleas, and I like all these, but it's like, it's very hard to make all that stuff. I don't think there was really much that we were gonna do that we took out. That didn't really happen so much.
Sure, sometimes the movie does feel fast-paced, and it won't work for everybody, but I wouldn't call this movie rushed, as this movie knows exactly when to slow things down and lets emotional moments hit.
I wanted the movie to be intelligently silly. I wanted it to be ridiculously cool. I wanted it to be sophisticated but innocent, sophisticatedly innocent, and surprisingly emotional.
So yeah, to address the common complaint addressed with this movie, I don't feel like this film is rushed. It's just a little fast-paced. That's just my opinion, though. It's like the Mario movie if it was good. So yeah, from an adaptation perspective, The Dog Man is a really quality film. But this movie has a lot of original aspects to it as well. That makes it stand out on its own as a funny, enjoyable, and heartfelt film.
But it did have to make Dog Man's part a lot bigger and a lot more consequential. The obvious thing in that is that he goes back home after he's turned into Dog Man. Man, and he sort of lost his home. So that was like to give him a story arc, to go with.
So yeah, after who knows how long, let's finally begin the part of the video where Damon recaps the entire film. The film begins in the middle of a police chase after Petey, the world's most evilest cat. Hey, look at that, it's my signed poster. We get quickly introduced to our main heroes, Officer Knight and Greg the dog, two of the best cops in the police force. I love how in the middle of this fast-paced scene, the movie does a good job at establishing the world, the relationships between these two cops, and the rivalry with Petey, played by the amazing Pete Davidson.
Bacon.
Who is so good in this movie, where it's not that much of a stretch to say that this is the best performance of his career. I mean, it's not saying much.
You've been inside me.
Anyways, after they land in an abandoned building, Petey plants a bomb to destroy them. Because you see, Officer Knight is a tough cop, but it has no brains, while Greg the dog is smart, but it's stuck in a dog's body. So killing them both is the perfect idea. Unless they combine somehow, but like that would ever happen.
What?
Can I have tomorrow off?
Shut your fucking mouth!
I love how this scene subtly shows that Officer Knight is kind of an idiot.
Answer me!
This movie does a great job at quick characterization and setup, which might be why I love rewatching this movie so much, and why I don't mind its fast pace at the beginning. Anyways, because of his stupidity, they failed to defuse the bomb. Officer Knight and Greg the dog are quickly taken to the hospital, unsure if they will survive. But when all hope seems lost, the nurse lady comes up with the perfect idea.
What if we sew the dog's head onto the man's body?
And with that, Dog Man is created.
Dog Man!
He said it!
So we then get a news report of Dog Man's first days on the duty by Sarah Hadoff, played by Isla Fisher. Nice detail having her played by an Australian actress. Nice. And Chief, played by Little Rel Howery.
I didn't know you got money for second place. Hey, man, what the hell are you doing here? Why don't you enlighten this fool, Sea-Dog?
And we get some quick world building and meet our main characters, who I really enjoy, and have actors that played them really well. In this quick scene alone, we get to see the dynamic between Chief and Sarah.
She's dead too.
She has very good hearing.
We also get to see that Flippy exists, and also that Chief has a crush on Sarah Hadoff, which definitely isn't forced in the movie at all. But I'll let it slide because Chief is really funny in this movie. This movie knows ball when it comes to its characters, even the ones I didn't originally care for. I vastly preferred the mayor in this movie because instead of being annoying, she turns me on. Even the characters that are different from the books, like Sarah's cameraman Seamus and Millie, are still enjoyable in the context of the film. Like Petey's butler is a woman and constantly trolls him throughout the movie, and it's just a really funny running gag. But then there's the main character, Dog Man, and I just adore what they do with him in this movie. The books have an issue where they often sideline him as the main character, but in this movie, they actually do a really good job handling that. We get the scene where Dog Man goes back to his old house with Officer Knight, all empty, as Dog Man reminisces on his old life he once had with Officer Knight as a normal dog. And then the real estate owner comes in and tells Dog Man about how Officer Knight's girlfriend has already moved on and the house is being sold. Only thing left in the house being his old ball, his Greg ball, in which case the lady uses it to trick Dog Man to get out of the house. That shows something that the series has never done before, the loss of Officer Knight. And this was intentional.
So when I got into the story, it was really about how to get Dog Man a little more centered in the story. And part of it was what happens when you become a half man, half dog. And it turns out that he sort of lost his old life. And this gives him some drive through the movie to find a new family, basically.
This movie does a really good job at exploring Dog Man in such a sympathetic way that makes him really endearing. In fact, Dave Pilkey himself said in an interview by Dorian's World that this is one of his favorite scenes in the movie.
I think one of the surprises was an early scene where Dog Man revisits the house that he and Officer Knight used to share together. And it was kind of emotional. It was really a good scene. It made you feel a lot of empathy for Dog Man.
And having Greg's ball symbolize his old life, mwah, chef's kiss. Bravo, Vince.
Dog Man, we just want to keep that tennis ball alive. It's so important to him. You know, the tennis ball obviously is like a representation of his old life, his old family, back when part of him was Greg.
And there's more scenes like this throughout the movie, exploring the main theme of abandonment and how it affects the characters throughout the story. Anyways, after Millie picks up Dogman, she takes him to the chief's office, who's jealous of all Dogman's new popularity.
Dogman's here!
But Dogman now must go and arrest Petey, who, after firing his butler, plans various ways to defeat Dogman. So with that, we get the Dogman arrest Petey montage. And I just love this scene so much. It's just a quick fun montage filled with so much fun gags and Easter eggs, alongside the banger score. Petey first chases him with a vacuum cleaner, reference to Book 1, Chapter 1, which Dogman leads into the ocean, who sucks up water and explodes, capturing Petey and sending him straight to cat jail with his fellow inmate, Big Jim.
Shut it, Big Jim!
The next day, Petey tricks Big Jim to help him escape, and with that, the cycle repeats. Mayor yells at Chief, Petey creates a new invention, this one being a reference to the game Mr. Bones on the Sega Saturn. Dogman stops Petey, sent back to cat jail, then escapes again. Control C, Control V. We end the peak montage with Dogman becoming the beloved super cop we all know and love.
And even plays piano for the old folks.
But remember guys, this movie has plot and stuff, so we should probably go back to that. So after that montage, the plot kicks in after Chief plays with Dogman's balls.
Go get it!
But the fun's cut short when Mayor arrives and... this was my awakening, guys. Chief is one lucky guy like, don't yell at me!
It should have been me, not him!
I want Dogman off the Petey case. ASAP!
You know what? She is right. We should have Dogman off the Petey case.
Oh, that's not fair. Here, call this number.
Life's not fair.
What? I also want to mention that is one of the best jokes in the movie. And of course I gotta mention that the number on the card is a real phone number that when you call it, you get this.
Life's not fair. Life's not fair.
Life's just not fair. I love this movie so much. But with that, Dogman is officially left off the Petey case. And after this really nice moment with Chief, he goes home. The same house that he bought from the real estate girl from earlier. And this scene is where real men cried. It's another great scene with Dogman to show how alone he feels without Officer Knight in his newfound life as a dog man. Slower emotional moments like this are sprinkled throughout the entire film, and they work so well. Anyways, we cut to Petey, who's escaped from cat jail.
They'll never find me here.
And after his daily trolling session from his former butler, gives him the perfect idea.
I need someone who thinks like me, who acts like me.
Gay. So Petey decides to create a clone of himself, after some online shopping, of course.
Air fryer, no air fryer.
Clearly, you've never owned an air fryer.
Next morning, Chief calls Dogman, who's depressed up in his crib. And Chief's all like, man, fuck you, I'll see you at work. And Dogman says,
Oh, nigga don't hate me because I'm beautiful.
Oh wait, I got the footage mixed up.
Damn, you okay, Chop?
Dogman licks the inside of Chief's mouth and tells Dogman about his new case at the super awesome science center over there, involving the recently deceased Flippy the fish.
Do you remember Flippy the fish you gave me for my birthday? Hey, wait till me bring power.
And yup, that's Flippy's introduction. And yeah, like I said in the past, this is kind of my only problem with the movie. The main complaint of this film is that it has a really fast pace. Is that much of a problem for me? No! But I understand why it's a problem for most people. And Flippy being so quickly introduced like this is funny, but because the beginning of the film is so fast paced, we never get to see Flippy's entire origin play out, so they just cram it into here, and it feels really forced. Like they added him last minute. I get why they did it though, even Peter seems to understand that.
This bit here with the board is basically 80% of the second book, presented in like 12 seconds. And it's kind of so fast, and you go through it, if you don't know that book, you're not going to get that. It's just going to fly by. But if you know the book, it's going to be this wonderful little moment of seeing it happen incredibly fast.
So I just thought it'd be worth mentioning. So then Dog Man rolls around in his dead body, and he gets taken to the super awesome science center over there, where the scientists have rebuilt him as part cyborg for future experiments.
Here's a video all about it that my daughter made.
Oh no, I don't want to spend the rest of my life in here.
Shut up, you stupid clone. We're in here because Dog Man has an acute sense of smell, and you smell like shit.
But as Sarah's interviewing the event, Petey overhears them talk about Flippy on the TV and forms a new plan to steal Flippy, bring him back to life at the nearby living spray factory to destroy Dog Man, who coincidentally enough is monitoring Flippy and will lose his job if he messes it up. Petey then immediately steals Flippy, while Dog Man's not looking, of course.
Bro, these lasers are really dangerous.
And then an epic chase happens, using Sarah and Seamus's drone to follow and record Petey as he flies away. In the Great Gatsby! From Book 6, Chapter 10. You're welcome, Zach. But after getting distracted by a squirrel, Dog Man fails to catch Petey, to the disappointment of Chief and the scientists at the super awesome science center over there. But after showing Chief the footage of Petey, he's still on the case to catch Petey. Meanwhile, at Petey's lair, he reprograms Flippy to have one goal: destroy all do-gooders. That is, until Petey's clothing machine arrives, and after ignoring the delivery man, he reads the instructions to pluck his whisker off to clone himself. And when he opens the door, we meet Little Petey. Now, we all know who Little Petey is, and we also know how much I'm not really a fan of him in the books. But in this movie, I adore him. I don't know what it is, but his interactions with Petey are ripped right out of the books, but they're just so cute and funny that I can't help but love it.
Wait 18 years for your clone to reach adulthood? What? 18 years? No!
In part to the performance by Lucas Hopkins, who was originally just a placeholder actor, but he just fit better than a random celebrity.
We had the editor's son, Lucas Hopkins, was doing the scratch for the kid because we just needed a kid voice. And then when we got around to casting it, we listened to a bunch of actors and things like that. And I go like, nobody's really better than Lucas. And Dave Pilkey had requested, it was like, please don't use an adult to play that part.
And he fits really well in the story with how he challenges Petey as a character.
So it's a big hinge point in the story because Petey now has a family and he didn't want one. You know, meanwhile, we've got Dog Man who lost a family and does want one.
But I'll get to that later. Look at this funny joke.
Hit the undo button. Sold separately. Sold separately? No!
Now, I did show that clip for a reason, and you should remember that now. When this clip was first released, I thought it was pretty funny. I remember audibly laughing in school. But little did I know of how it would come back later and hit me in the feels! So anyways, Petey gets inside the Great Gatsby to bring Flippy to the living spray factory, but unfortunately, Little Petey sneaks on board and ruins everything, and Petey gets all bloody pressed, even when Little Petey shows him a little comic that he made. The last straw though is when he's about to shoot Flippy into the smokestack. Little Petey pushes some buttons and causes him to miss, and has Flippy fall into the wrong pipe and get stuck, ruining Petey's plan. Meanwhile, Chief is preparing Dog Man to find Flippy and Petey, so he takes Dog Man to his underground bunker to his special gear.
Bruh.
This whole scene is just an extended bit for this one joke. I really like it. It is completely pointless, and that's why I find it really funny. Meanwhile, Petey tries to sell Little Petey to get rid of him once and for all, but that doesn't really go well in an absolutely hilarious scene.
I think I'll call you Poo-Poo Head.
How much is a free kitty?
But then, Little Petey just disappears, giving Petey the perfect opportunity to abandon him. But when Little Petey comes back from losing the bathroom, he's left all alone, his papa nowhere to be seen. He walks alone through the night, with nobody in sight. Out of luck, he sits in his little box in the middle of the road, where Dog Man, who's spying on Petey, sees him, about to get run over. In an act of pure kindness, decides to risk his job to save Little Petey's life. Unaware of his connection to Petey, Dog Man decides to take Little Petey home and take care of him. In contrast to Dog Man's previous scene in his house, where like Little Petey was sad and alone, both characters are now happy and are trying to take care for one another, and together they both fall asleep. How cute! Petey, on the other hand, is initially thrilled to be away from Little Petey. That is until he reads the comic that he made earlier.
Papa and me.
But despite the sweet comic, Petey refuses to show any empathy for his clone, keeping true to his evil ways. In contrast to Little Petey, who the next morning bonds with Dog Man, who shows him the love Petey didn't, in a really nice montage.
I'm gonna run away and no one will ever see me again!
The montage plays, set to the track Best Friends. An absolute banger, might I add. We see the two as they enjoy life and take care for the people of the city. And I love all the details in this montage. You can see them posting up flyers looking for Flippy. Dog Man comforts this one guy who was carrying a box of bees earlier.
And then here, this is another thing we really wanted to get into the scene, is Dog Man demonstrating compassion basically for someone who's kind of feeling low, which we see little Petey do with his dad.
And you can see Petey's butler for some reason. I hope that doesn't come back or something. And with that, the two become beloved by the entire city.
And if you notice, from the beginning of the piano sequence to the end, that the house is completely decorated differently. Life has gotten good for Dog Man now that he's made this friend.
Everyone except for Petey, who after just completing his new invention, ADHD, the best character in the Dog Man game, gets trolled by his butler and shows Petey the photo she took earlier that I pointed out. And seeing him with Dog Man makes Petey so jealous. Again, I just love all the background setup in this movie, dog. It's just so good. Like ADHD's appearance is foreshadowed by his parts being shown in Petey's lab earlier. Like, damn man, this really is the best movie of the year. Keep in mind, I wrote the script before I watched Sinners. So anyways, out of jealousy, Petey has ADHD scan Little Petey's comic, and together, they immediately find Little Petey and quietly steal him from Dog Man's house when he's asleep. Little Petey wakes up unaware of his current situation and gets taken back to Petey's lab. But on the walk home, we get this seemingly ordinary scene of Little Petey appreciating the world around him. Petey then mocks Little Petey's optimistic view of the world, thinking that Dog Man must have warped his mind somehow. On paper, this scene is just here to showcase some of the themes of the movie. And it is, but if you're a fan of the books, you know exactly what's gonna go down later. Once they come home, Petey shows Little Petey his new big invention, the Squirrel Shooter 2000, that will use Dog Man's love of squirrels to finally defeat him. The two get ready for bed, but Little Petey isn't the biggest fan of his new room in the junk closet, and he wants to sleep with Petey instead. Frustrated, Petey sits down and talks to Little Petey, where we learn a little bit more about Petey's past and why he is the way that he is. Now, when he was a kid, his dad didn't really care for him. He got a truck, took all of their stuff, and left him and his mom all alone. But Little Petey thinks it's a good idea to find Petey's dad, aka Grandpa, and that maybe he's changed. But Petey rejects this idea, and that change is unrealistic and that the world's a horrible place. That's reality.
I'm sleeping with you.
No!
But that doesn't change much, as Little Petey runs off of ADHD and tells him to search for Grandpa. Now I want to discuss some things real quick before moving on, as this is when the movie gets a lot more emotional. For those expecting this movie just to be a haha funny dog cop movie, one of the big reasons the Dog Man series is so beloved as it is because of the shockingly emotional and adult themes present in the books, such as abandonment, change, and the goodness of people in a shockingly realistic way.
You know, Dave was really, I'm going to say, brave in going to some of the emotional places that he goes with the story, because it seems so flip and silly. And then, here's this guy, I mean, he's giving away a cat on the street in one sense. On the other hand, he's abandoning his child. So it's so great that he does that.
Many of these themes and events are being adapted for this film, and I respect this film so much for having the balls to cover all that source material, because that thing is shockingly relevant in today's age, and they help elevate the story, because it could have been so much easier to ignore it entirely.
And this bit with the flowers and stuff, I pulled this from a much later book, because it's just such a rich, emotional story that Petey has here.
More of this will come into play later, but as of right now, the film decides to recontextualize Petey as a character, with Little Petey questioning his true nature.
You know, he is a guy that, as we find out, that he just had a tough childhood, and he's convinced himself that he's a bad guy. And then he kind of meets this kid, and it's like, maybe you're not.
I interpret this as a way of Little Petey being a reflection of Petey's true self. Someone who has the ability to love and be good, but because of his upbringing, was never able to. But when you look at Little Petey, someone who we've seen shown that love from Dog Man, shows that it is possible Petey to do good. He is literally his clone.
But you're not like me.
Maybe I am. You just don't like that part.
And furthermore, the film challenges whether or not change is possible, because after all, that's just reality, right? Meanwhile, Dog Man wakes up and realizes that little Petey has gone missing, and the next morning calls Sarah to help look for little Petey. And together they revisit various shops and definitely is in foreshadowing things that will happen later in the film. Meanwhile, Petey watches Sarah on the news searching for little Petey, ready to finally destroy Dog Man once and for all. The doorbell rings. It's ADHD, who's found and brought over Grandpa, played by Stephen Root, who immediately insults both of the Peteys, proving that maybe Petey was right about his dad.
I remember everything about my father. Real man.
And I think that Grandpa's inclusion, although pretty brief, does help elevate the film. As we see in his few scenes, he hasn't changed at all, trashing their house and suspiciously measuring Petey's stuff. And worst of all, stealing their peanut butter. And it works because Grandpa is a very realistic character, as there are people in this world that act a lot like him and are not good people who do not change.
That guy abandoned me. Do you have any idea what that feels like?
Yes.
I love this because it really helps ground the film despite how silly its tone and characters are.
And it was a lot of discussion about this part of the story, and I really wanted to keep it in, and it's just so rich. I mean, I think I even wrote Dave an email and I was like, I can't believe you put this in the book. It's so amazing and unexpected. And you know, he's very interested in having real things portrayed in life. So it's not that everything is candy-coated and perfect all the time.
And that's something that's really important and something I really appreciate about this movie.
Where do you keep the air fryer?
I could destroy a year's supply of your hair gel.
You'd have to be a real sicko to do something.
But anyways, do you guys remember Flippy the fish?
What's he up to, man? What's he doing?
Yeah, he's in this movie in case you guys forgot. Kinda got a little sidetracked. Well, there's an earlier scene inside the living spray factory where two workers find him stuck in the gears. And in this scene, after playing with his dead corpse, he falls down and breaks one of the pipes, spraying living spray everywhere. And he comes to life and, ew, he's British! Yeah, Flippy's voiced by Ricky Gervais now, and after being absent for the entire movie, is the main villain in the third act, with the living spray building that also comes to life. I love how the building only says Gooba Gaba like in the books. This movie is perfect, and everything down to the last minute details. So Flippy, with his psychokinetic powers, leads his beastly building to destroy all do-gooders. Meanwhile, Petey's preparing his scroll shooter to destroy Dog Man before getting mocked by Grandpa, in which little Petey defends Petey, loving him no matter what.
I really enjoy this scene a lot because this emotional interaction where his dad's driving him crazy, where little Petey says he loves Petey, and he's slowly getting through to him where he cares about this kid. And really the story ends up being that he wants to care about this kid. He doesn't want to be like his dad was to him. He wants to sort of break the chain.
I like this moment. In the books, little Petey often has like these little speeches like this that he does a lot. They get pretty annoying after a while, in my opinion. But in here, it's sweet and hopeful that in spite of people like Grandpa, there is good in the world and people who will choose love over hate.
Dave has this desire to basically encourage goodness, really. You know, little Petey's very often saying things like, you can't just be good, you got to do good. And being this undeniable force of positivity out in the world.
But Petey tells little Petey to stay home with ADHD because he has to do what he's got to do.
Get milk.
Right.
Real man.
We see Dog Man again, who, after searching for little Petey all day with Sarah, has officially given up and dealing with the loss of the one person who made his life better after Officer Knight's death. But Sarah tells him a story about how she lost her pet gerbil, Colonel Kurtz, and that he needs to keep going.
Gerbils can be mean.
And thus, Dog Man gets back up and knows to keep going no matter what life throws at him. Something that he'll need to take literally as Petey pulls up blasting Fetty Wap on his GBL speaker and starts the film's epic climax. Petey uses the Scroll Shooter 2000 to trick Dog Man and almost kill him as he shoots a bomb scroll into a nearby building.
I'm crushing it! I'm crushing it!
But after showing the pure evil of his new machine, Dog Man locks in and holds onto the shooter as Petey drives away. Meanwhile, Flippy's terrorizing the city as they search for our heroes. Then an epic explosion happens as Dog Man and Petey land on Philly the Euro. Oh my bad, cheesesteak. And this just put a giant grin on my face. Not only seeing my goat Philly, but to have that silly joke from the books ripped right into the movie.
Huh?
I love being a Dog Man fan, it's awesome!
Fucking cheesesteak? rats!
And with that, Dogman publicly captures Petey to both the mayor and chief, saving Dogman's job. But when little Petey sees and comes over to the screen, Dogman finally realizes that he's Petey's clone.
How did you not put that one together, Dogman?
It's funny because when I was watching this in the theater, I was thinking the exact same thing. Like, how did you not realize it? It's so obvious. Only for the movie to say exactly that. But whatever they thought, already thinked it. So now Dogman has a dilemma, whether or not to arrest Petey.
No, wait! Arrest him!
I miss him.
But it's cut short when Flippy spawns into the word do-gooder. Initially, Petey's relieved that his old plan worked out in the end, and Flippy will finally kill Dogman, until things go horribly wrong as Flippy turns to little Petey instead, a pure do-gooder, and takes him captive. And so, Dogman decides to briefly team up with Petey to go and save little Petey. And we get a random gag that is literally so yaoi core. But saving little Petey is going to be way harder than expected, as Flippy dangles him over a bridge to lure them out. So to fight back, they go back to the lab and build a giant mechanical mailman to fight off against the living spray factory. And we get an epic kaiju fight between them, ending with a massive suplex. But as the robot breaks little Petey free from Flippy, the living spray factory sprays its remaining gas to the city, which brings the buildings foreshadowed earlier to life.
Hey, I can see my house from here!
Oh my god, they did it! They had a George and Harold cameo! I audibly cheered in my theater! Anyway, Chief and Sarah arrives at the scene and orders everyone to evacuate, and also reminds the audience that Sarah and Chief have crushes on each other. Which, okay. But like, this is the second time it's been brought up in the entire movie? Anyways, the giant robot takes on all of the beastly buildings all at once. And it's really cool and fun until the robot falls down defeated. The rest of the gang goes to check up on Dogman and Petey, but things only get worse. The buildings come back and starts crushing the robot as our heroes try to escape. We're surrounded after climbing out of the robot's ass. That is until little Petey, who went back to the lab, got inside ADHD, comes to save the day.
Flippy-tie-yay, Flippy Flipper.
And after defeating the final building, ADHD comes crashing down defeated. Dogman and Petey finds him, but with Flippy on the way, all hope seems lost. Until Petey decides to switch places with little Petey, to trick Flippy, sacrificing himself to save little Petey, in an act of true selflessness. And what makes this scene and the entire climax work is how well they balance the film's tone with its stakes.
And then I think one of the other sort of things that makes a lot of this stuff work is that these characters take this all seriously. It doesn't matter how ridiculous it gets. They don't call it out. It's for real for them. And it just makes it more dramatic.
And now we reach the final stretch of the climax with Flippy taunting RoboCat.
Oh, Dad, they think he loved me. No, he didn't.
And takes Petey with him as he takes him to die in the most macho way possible by dropping him to the mouth of an active volcano. Which is from Book 3, Chapter 9, page 201. Meanwhile, the rest of our heroes watch in horror.
Well, that's out of our hands. Nothing we can do about it.
Nice work, Chief. But Dogman and little Petey come up with one last idea to save the day. I don't know why Dogman ate a crayon, though. And as they go on their way, Chief asks a very important question.
Who's the hero?
All of them, Chief. All of them.
Actually, I'd argue it's the mayor, because she's really hot and she's doing her job. So as Flippy's about to drop Petey into the volcano, Dogman arrives and has a quick, funny standoff between him and Flippy, until little Petey comes out, who instead of trying to fight, talks to Flippy, in a scene ripped right out of the third book. And Flippy explains that he's just mad at the world for mistreating him. You could argue that Flippy's kind of a forced inclusion in this movie, given how he's introduced and how little he shows up through the middle of the movie, only serving as a villain for the third act. But I think he's a fun and threatening character, with a really entertaining performance by Ricky Gervais, an actor I don't even like.
Dominic Bad Guy?
Pronounced Bad G.
And I think he fits well into the story, serving as another character who's been mistreated by the world, similar to Dogman with the loss of Officer Knight, and Petey with his childhood trauma from Grandpa. But now little Petey confronts Flippy.
What's that? Your manifesto?
With a little comic that he made for him, showing that love really does triumph overall. Ugh, that's so corny. But as Flippy turns good, his evil powers fade quicker than the low taper fade meme, and accidentally drop Petey into the volcano. But Dogman inside the squirrel shooter is ready to save him, but out of ammo, he only has one thing left to use, his old ball. The only remaining thing from his old life. Yet, he shoots it out of the cannon, hit ADHD away from the volcano, saving Petey's life. And I love this moment, showing Dog Man letting go of his past. They keep moving forward like Sarah said.
Hold up.
Something interesting I found in the deleted scenes of this movie was an alternate ending of the climax where Dog Man shoots his ball way earlier in the fight and saves Petey in a different, more comic accurate way. And while I do like that scene, it even has this one really funny joke.
The pig is evil! Which is why there's never been a better time to invest in crypto.
I'm glad they changed it for what we ended up getting. To have this moment with Dog Man's ball have way more impact. Bravo, Peter. And that leads us right to the film's conclusion. The first ending we get is Chief's ending, who goes to arrest Flippy.
Oh.
Okay, girl, this is literally the third and final time this subplot has been brought up. How the hell do you suddenly have feelings for him? Was it because he showed his cheeks or something?
About that prick's face when he saw the gat.
Whatever, I don't really care. Sarah takes a photo for the front page, getting the recognition that he deserves. Good for you, Chief. And when he's about to arrest Petey, the mayor shows up and gives Petey a pardon for being a do-gooder.
And I'm not just saying that because it's an election year.
Don't worry, I'd vote for you no matter what.
Yeah, that brother's starving.
But in response to this, Petey stays true to his character, claiming that he's selfish and mean, and leaves, taking little Petey with him, away from Dog Man.
Completely ignoring the fact that half the city is destroyed.
And this perfectly leads to the film's second ending, Petey's ending. As Petey walks little Petey home, they see Grandpa laughing away in a pickup truck, which can only mean one thing, something that longtime fans would have seen it coming a mile away. Grandpa stole all their stuff, leaving Petey's house completely empty. The only thing he didn't take was little Petey's comics.
That's just real. That just happens in life. And they're just some people that aren't necessarily going to be the way that you want them to be. And a lot of people can relate to that. It doesn't mean that things are bad, but it's the recognition of, kind of a real life situation. And it's amazing, though, that he got it into these books. And I was like, we got to do this.
And then we reach the big ultimatum for Petey's character.
Undo?
The film has explored Petey's character and questioned whether or not he can change. So what does Petey do?
Never.
This is my favorite moment in the entire film. Using a throwaway gag, something you probably forgot happened at the beginning of the film, suddenly coming back as a final test to prove whether or not Petey has changed, is simply brilliant.
It's a big, big moment for Petey because his dad didn't change. And he's just talking about how people don't change. And then he's really has this realization that I don't want to be that guy.
And with that, Petey has changed. But with the depressing situation at hand, Petey then decides to take little Petey over to Dog Man, the only home he has left. And as they walk together, an upset little Petey, with his optimistic view of the world put into question, acknowledges the reality of the world around him. It is seen ripped out of the 7th book. The two stop and sit down, looking up at the stars, and Petey, after all of his character development, says this: "The world has a lot of problems, but it can never be a horrible place, because you're in it." A message and quote that I find so meaningful, and increasingly true as more time goes by.
It's an incredible piece of advice. And that works on bad days, it works on good days, it works in so many instances. And it's just so worth saying.
Leading us to the third and final ending, Dog Man's ending. We cut back to Dog Man, back in his home, alone once again, until Petey knocks at the door, who despite being arch rivals, allows little Petey to visit him sometimes, to the joy of Dog Man. So TLDR, they're divorced parents. Epic! Before Petey leaves, he gives Dog Man a new ball, with his name written on it.
Brought that dog, man!
What the dog doing?
Bringing Dog Man's character arc full circle. And as Dog Man and little Petey bond howling, Petey walks back to rebuild his lab, picking up the polluted bottle and to hold the dead weeds from earlier.
Which is really kind of the richness that I love that Dave has in his books, and that the feeling that I get watching this part is something that I enjoy so much, as a moviegoer. And a very simple message of like, it's going to be okay.
With everything wrapped up, the three come together and the film ends. Oh wait, I didn't make a Venom by Eminem joke. Building shows up and he plays Venom by Eminem.
I got that.
The credits roll and ends with Super Good by Young Gravy. Yeah, we're done. And with that is everything I have to say about the Dog Man movie and why I love it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you didn't, still like and subscribe. Of course, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, and I know not everybody loves this movie as much as I do, and that's completely okay. It's not perfect, but to me, it's all I wanted it to be. It means so much to me, and that's my opinion. And I hope with this video I was able to explain why. And if you have a differing opinion on this movie, well, I hope I was able to shed a new light onto it for you to appreciate it in a different way. This movie means so much to me, and I adore almost everything about it. And all I wanted to do was share that love to the world. But I'm not the only person who loves this movie. So let's hear what they think.
Okay, like I said in my video, I really liked Captain Underpants. But yeah, I really liked the Dog Man movie. I thought what they did with it was so cool. They mixed the silliness with some emotion, but not in a way that it felt too overbearing for any part.
Okay, so the Dog Man movie for me personally, and also in regards to my brother, me and him grew up reading the Dog Man books, and now that it's actually like released, and once we heard that the Dog Man movie would be something that was actually going to exist and release, it was just insane to think about. Seeing Dog Man on the big screen, it's still a surreal feeling, and the movie lived up to its expectations.
As a Dog Man YouTuber and just a longtime Dog Man fan, this movie honestly felt like a dream come true. It wasn't just about watching my favorite characters come to life on the big screen, but truly seeing the same perfect blend of laughter, chaos, and heart that made me fall in love with the books in the first place.
So I know Dog Man from the Captain Underpants books. I remember since they were hard to find here where I live, which is Peru, I really liked them a lot. They were like a huge comfort for me during the pandemic. And around 2021, I found out there was an online fandom. It was really a nice thing for me at the time because I was struggling during the pandemic, and Dog Man gave me sort of a safe space to express myself. I would continue being a Dog Man fan for years, and I remember vividly that one time I was looking through my friends' stories, and they were talking about the Dog Man movie, and that was like truly something that revived completely my hyperfixation on Dog Man.
Okay, so it's crazy that someone like me could be a fan of Dog Man, right? I come from the other side of the world, so I don't have the same attachment as those who grew up with Dog Man. I don't get the same sentiment as those who knew every single reference of the movie. But what I do admire about the movie is how faithful it is to its source material, and how much love and care it was to make the final result.
I've been following this movie literally the day I came out of the Captain Underpants movie. I was like, alright, where's Dog Man? Captain Underpants, the movies, the books, like I've always loved it, but I feel like with the Dog Man books, there's always been something different. Like, Dog Man has always just stuck out to me.
I always loved the Captain Underpants and Dog Man books as a kid. To see books that were like a huge part of my childhood being adapted into movies for more people to see and to enjoy, it's just great to see. But when I did go to see it, it was a lot more emotional than I thought.
I thought that the movie was really good. One of the better DreamWorks movies in recent memory. I thought it adapted the books really well.
Well, I've been a fan of the Captain Underpants books for most of my life, even to where I met the author back in 2012, so obviously I was gonna be a fan of the Dog Man books. And the movie was a really good adaptation. It's super faithful, the animation captures the art style extremely well, the voice actors did a great job. Really, it's just a good movie across the board.
It really feels like DreamWorks didn't just adapt Dog Man, they captured its spirit.
My favorite part that I always think about is the bees falling out of the box, because that really represented the Captain Underpants style in the original movies style, and that was such a good visual gag. Like, altogether, the movie's visual gags were stunning.
I remember the whole time of hype before the movie came out. It was really amazing because the fandom started to grow a little bit. It wasn't that big like how it is now after the movie released, but it did start to gain fans, especially as more stuff leaked about it.
Following this movie's release, and again, like I found your channel, and you know, I started doing my channel and started posting about Dog Man and stuff like that. Like, this franchise is just absolutely meant the world to me.
I'm a fraud, okay. I've not read any of the books before this. I
didn't really know anything going into the movie. I barely even saw the trailers. I just said, I like the Captain Underpants movie, and I'm going to see this so that maybe it'll make money and they'll make another Captain Underpants movie again. So I sat down, and I did not expect that it would make me tear up, for one thing. I mean, I'm kind of the resident Harold Hutchins expert in the state of Indiana. It didn't really click for me. It's like, oh, I kind of had to remember this is supposed to be written by a child of divorce, and this is how he copes, and I'm seeing his big movie production.
I went to visit my friend when the movie came out so we could watch it together in the US. I really, really loved it. I would shake my friend around when I got too excited. I almost cried a couple times because I was so happy to just be there and watch the movie I've been waiting for since like 2021.
What made this even more meaningful for me was getting to meet Dave Pilkey himself, the amazing mind behind Dog Man. Talking with him about the movie and hearing how proud he is of this adaptation was very special, especially knowing how personal these stories are to him.
Seeing this movie like genuinely for a while just like genuinely made me happy and genuinely made me feel like a little kid again. Obviously the movie has flaws, but I think as a Dog Man movie and the message that the movie's trying to put out to everyone, I think they did it perfectly, you know.
I did not think that I was going to be invested in the story and then the characters. I thought it was just going to be like a silly, fun, like little animated movie. But no, it was a really well written, really well directed, and like emotionally driven movie.
I don't know, it made me feel things. I didn't expect to feel things from the funny haha dog movie. I really didn't.
I mean, I'm not like the #1 Dog Man fan, that's not me. I've only read the first few books, but I really liked it and I thought it was really good. And it really captured the energy of the books.
Just a lot of appreciation for the Dog Man franchise, which I really, really like.
Like a labor of love and dedication. Something similar to how I felt when I first discovered the first epic Captain Underpants movie.
The Captain Underpants movie was also able to do that, but, you know, there were just certain aspects of it that it was almost like you were just watching the book brought to life on the big screen.
It felt really special to be there. And like, it was unbelievable for me to think that there was an actual Dog Man movie that existed after all those years of waiting. It was kind of crazy. Also, seeing the fandom grow felt unbelievable because of how small it was before.
Petey is one of my favorite antagonists of all time now. I'm going to be 100% real, 100% true, authentic, and real. Clint Eastwood watermark.
Getting to interview Pete Davidson, who voices Petey in the movie, was just as exciting. He brought just the right amount of depth and emotion to a character as complex as Petey, and hearing him talk about how much he loves and respects all of these characters really made me appreciate his performance even more.
And it's insane that, you know, all the voice actors did an amazing job. I still cannot believe how much I loved Pete Davidson as Petey. And the emotional beats in this movie were things people were not going to expect from this film. And it just has that humor perfectly brought over from the books into this movie.
While also being, like, silly and lighthearted, and you could tell it was definitely aimed to be a kid's movie, but it also had enough things that people like us, or people like the parents who take their little kids to see this movie, even those parents wouldn't be bored. It wasn't like a full brain rot type movie that's only for like toddlers.
And I think Peter Hastings was the perfect guy for the job.
Written, directed, Peter Hastings, that's an awesome name, I gotta say, by the way.
I'm super thankful that Universal and DreamWorks were able to take such good care of Dave Pilkey's works, because this and Captain Underpants are everything I could have asked for as adaptations of two book series that have meant so much to me throughout my life.
And in regards for my channel, this has been probably kind of the spark, really started my Dog Man content when I just brought up the question with you was also, where is this Dog Man movie? With that, it was just full sailing from there, talking about it, seeing all the leaks, speculating about it. Now that it's actually released, and, you know, my channel's at a pretty good spot with it, and it's crazy that I've gotten to meet so many cool people from this movie. And it's just amazing.
I've also seen that it has become a little bit more popular with Latin American audiences, which is something I appreciate, because when I was in the fandom before, it was really hard to find other Dog Man fans or other people who like Dog Man. And after the movie came out, it's almost like everyone knows Dog Man, and it fills me with happiness, honestly.
Shout out to the people at DreamWorks who made an absolute banger. They're calling it the film of the year.
It had something for everybody to enjoy while still being whimsical. And I think a lot more animated movies these days need to do that. It doesn't need to fully be a commentary on something that, like, the adults watching the movie will get, and the kids will just see, ooh, fun animated looking character. No, you can have a silly and whimsical movie that's still, like, emotionally driven. And I think more movies like Dog Man need to exist in this world.
I hope this gets a sequel and it makes $20 Dogman-illion.
It definitely made me think, like, just how fun making a movie like that would be. Not only are you paying attention to Dave Pilkey and, like, getting to honor him and seeing his reaction to that, I can't even imagine DreamWorks getting to show that movie to him, especially with how good it is. But also, like, just, like, you can just have so much fun with a movie like that. All these jokes you can come together, the animators are having a good time. It all feels with heart, and that feels like a great movie to work on.
As a fan and as someone who spent years talking about these books, I left the theater thinking, yes, this is exactly what Dog Man should be. It captured the heart of the series in all the best ways. For fans like me, this wasn't just an adaptation, but a celebration of all we love about Dog Man.
What is something that you hope audiences will take away after seeing Dog Man?
First of all, I know that Dog Man, you know, it's sort of like if you go to the movie theater and you see like a little standee of Dog Man in the corner and you just go like, oh, that's just like a movie for 8-year-olds, which it is, but that people will discover it as, and the sort of broader appeal of the kind of comedy that's in there and stuff that's in that movie, and that's fun. The other thing is the sort of emotional story that happens in there with Petey. You know, the thing is, if you read the books, it's like all the really good stuff is Petey and little Petey. And he had a tough childhood, and he's like, doesn't want to be a good guy. And he has this experience of meeting this kid and kind of learning, not specifically from the kid, but by learning about being with him and stuff like that. And, you know, where he goes at the end of the movie is just really kind of special to me. And I always felt like that message at the end, you know, little Petey is expressing dismay at the world, and the big Petey says, you know, the world has a lot of problems, but it could never be a horrible place because you're in it. I just love that sentiment because I think it works on a good day and it works on a bad day, and it's just appreciative of, you know, people around you. So I like people to carry that message away for sure, and obviously to have fun. The other thing is, when you're making the movie, you don't watch it with kids generally. You're just like with adults all the time, you know, with these filmmakers and people, animators and stuff like that. And so we're liking stuff, and we're liking this and that and all that kind of thing. And then you do a screening, and then all these kids show up, and you're like, oh yeah. You know, they show up in their Dog Man t-shirts and stuff like that. It's super fun. Maybe that was you.
To wrap things up, it would be a shame if I didn't ask, do you have any ideas or any plans to make a follow-up, whether it be a sequel or a TV show for Dog Man?
Yeah, I mean, anytime if you had a good time doing it, you're hoping you get to work on a sequel. So it's always a conversation that's going on. You know, it's probably a good chance because the movie did well and people liked it. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. So,
the Dog Man movie is not perfect, but it didn't need to be. Not everyone's going to love it. Not everybody's going to appreciate it, but that's okay. It doesn't need to be. Because to me, and many others, the Dog Man movie is perfect. It's everything we could have wanted and more. So to end this video, I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you, Peter Hastings. Thank you, Dave Pilkey. And thank you, DreamWorks. But for the love of God, please make a sequel.